Chapter 480, Showing Remarkable Ability. Chapter 480, Showing Remarkable Ability. Such a good thought. The moon god, Ouyang Luo Shang, slightly shouted. The moonlight on her body condensed into a light column in front of her. In a flash, that column turned into a moonlight armor. The armor was like the still water in the pond under the moonlight, directly impacting against the giant white claw from Bo Sun. Bang! Like a collapsing mountain, countless black and white light shot out, while the whole Sun Island trembled. The great sunlight cover. Sun god Tangyuan then roared. The scorching solar heat turned into fiery flames, forming a blazing halo reaching to Bo Sun. Little tricks. Bo Sun harumphed. A dark green spirit snake shot out from his sleeve. The snake was icy cold as cold air emitted from its entire body. It opened the mouth and nipped at the great sunlight cover. Numerous gloomy energy waves rippled, attacking the great sunlight cover and dissolving its fiery power. Shi Yin kept his cold face, watching the moon god and the sun god taking action. But he wasn't in a hurry, just coldly staring at Bo Sun. Thick, bony thorns suddenly jutted out from behind Bo Sun. Thousands of thorns combined, forming a white bone throne, on which Bo Sun sat down. Giant skulls emerged from his sleeves as countless ghosts appeared inside the skulls. They were baring their fangs and claws, releasing their evil soul attacks. Skulls lined up in the sky, turning into a massive skull that was as big as a mountain. This skull was snow white, around hundreds of meters tall. It suddenly pounded down on Shi Yin with a malicious, ghostly aura. The soul-terminating surging spirit from the pupils of the giant skull directly aimed at Shi Yin's sea of consciousness. Shi Yin was calmer, realizing that the opponent was using soul attacks to face him. He stood still, waiting for the surging spirit to enter his body. Waves of soul-destroying soul consciousness entered his sea of consciousness like lightning. However, they got covered in flames and were burned down to ashes before they could perform their deeds. Bo Sun was trembling as a halo flickered in his eyes. Apparently, his soul consciousness was damaged. The 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame was the sharp weapon that could destroy all kinds of souls or soul consciousness, as long as it stayed hidden inside Shi Yin's sea of consciousness. He didn't need to worry about the eradicating soul consciousness. Bo Sun wasn't an exception. When Bo Sun's soul consciousness was burned down, Shi Yin suddenly remembered Tianmo and his friends, and his face turned strange. Only the group of Tianmo and Dishan knew about the existence of the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame on his body. If Bo Sun had known about the flame, he wouldn't have been reckless in using a soul attack, leading to his soul consciousness getting damaged. Thus, he knew that Tianmo and Dishan hadn't disclosed his situation to Bo Sun. Since their tribes were clamped between Qi Yin and Bo Sun, Tianmo and Dishan had to give in. Shi Yin had been enraged at that time, but later when he thought about it, he understood they had their difficulties. 1 year ago, when he had come close to the Snow Dragon Island, the 3 of Tianmo's group had noticed his aura. He then asked Dishan and Yuro to warn him not to enter the Snow Dragon Island due to the presence of Bo Sun. Also, thanks to his face, Tianmo and Dishan had discreetly released Qing Man. These small details showed him that Dishan, Tianmo, and the others had to comply with the demon tribes because of the temporary difficulties, but they still remembered him as their old master. They didn't turn their back on him or disclose his secrets. He frowned while pondering. Shi Yin felt a little bit better when he knew that Dishan and Tianmo weren't some sorts of traitors. The knot in his heart was untied. You can erase my soul consciousness. Suddenly, Bo Sun grinned fiendishly, faced up the sky, and shouted. Even Yang Tian Emperor didn't have this ability that year. You're just a junior from the Yang family, but you do have peculiar abilities. Seems like I have to kill you today. If I don't irradiate you today, you'll become another Yang Tian Emperor. Kid, you can be proud. Then a devil bell flew out from Bo Sun's sleeve, which had many carvings of ancient demonic beasts and scriptures. Thick aura from the demon area was released, seeming to lead to a strange change in the devil aura. The devil bell soared to the sky, and the devil aura over the Sun Island started to surge violently, torrentially gathering towards it. Absorbing the devil aura, the bell gradually swelled, while the small ancient carvings on the bell became clearer. Those beasts looked ferocious, just like they were about to fly out from the devil bell. The devil bell pressed down from above Shurian's and the others' heads, releasing 7 layers of devil light. Each layer had the phantom of an ancient demonic beast, emanating the ominous aura of the threatening demonic beasts in the primitive era. 7 layers of devil light, slowly pushed down like 7 massive boards. The phantoms of demonic beasts inside the light were showing claws and fangs, shrieking with a terrifying aura. An extremely heavy pressure covered his whole body. Shurian actually had a feeling of being pounded by a mountain as his body felt sluggish, unable to urge his powers. The 3 alien things, including a giant white claw, a behemoth skull, and a devil bell released by Demon King Bo Sun, appeared on the sky of the Sun Island. They were all malicious, and Ouyang Luo Shang, Tang Yuanan, and Shurian couldn't help but put forth all of their powers to resist. Ouyang Luo Shang was urging her moonlight armor constantly to parry the giant white claw, while Tang Yuanan was utilizing all of his forces to confront the massive skull. However, he seemed to be struggling powerlessly. With this situation, the skull would soon dominate him. As Ouyang Luo Shang saw Tang Yuanan unable to endure any longer, in the void, she used the moonlight to condense a moonlight sacred sword, distracting her mind to control it to aid Tang Yuanan. She could only prevent the skull from killing Tang Yuanan for a short time. The giant white claw and the massive skull forced the moon god and the sun god to urge all of their powers to counter. No matter what, Demon King Bo Sun was a strong warrior at the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, who was the tyrant of the demon area for years. His powers were truly sky-piercing and earth-splitting, worth the name of the most ferocious slaughter in this world. Although moon god Ouyang Luo Shang had the moonlight accumulated for thousands of years, she was at the 1st sky of Spirit Realm only. When joining hands with Tang Yuanan, they could only resist half of the power of Bo Sun. They weren't free to care about that devil bell. As the 7 layers of devil light were pressing down, the pressure it brought had suffocated Shurian. Without the powers of the 3 living beings, he was afraid that his knees would go soft. Perhaps he would be pushed face down on the ground and be unable to get on his feet again. I got this devil bell and the unbounded devil blade from the chaotic basin of the space. Recently, I haven't encountered many strong characters that were worth using them against. It's your fortune to die under this bell. Bo Sun exaggerated, his face arrogant. Apparently, he didn't consider Shurian his match. The devil light from the devil bell slowly pushed down, as the heavy pressure kept increasing. Under such circumstances, Shurian still kept calm, not hurrying to make any counterattack while he kept pouring more energy into the mysterious giant sword. This sword could slash a slit on the unbounded devil blade and could break a sacred level treasure within one strike. It was absolutely one of the god-level secret treasures that existed in this world. Although he hardly utilized all of the sharp powers of this sword, he believed that it did have the power to fight once with Bo Sun's devil bell. But he should not hurry. He needed to accumulate powers sufficiently to bring out the best of the sword in this battle. The devil light was still pushing down, but Shurian stood still, crazily pouring energy into the giant sword. The closed eyes opened one by one, and by now half of the eyes on the giant sword were opened. All of a sudden, Shurian felt fatigue. This was the sign of consuming too much power. "It's now," he shouted, as all of his spirit, chi, and energy gathered at one point, jumping into the giant sword. A destructive aura burst out from the mysterious giant sword. The giant sword pierced to the void, directly towards the devil light released by the devil bell. Red eyes blinked on the giant sword, while the wild, evil, destructive aura was activated brutally on the giant sword. It drew a long, bloody rainbow in the air, slashing directly on the devil light. Rumbling, rumbling, rumbling. The rumbling noises echoed from the devil light. The phantoms of ancient demonic beasts were dissolved into countless light dots that shot everywhere on the Sun Island. 5 out of 7 layers of devil light emitted from the devil bell were torn apart. The remaining 2 layers still pressed down, just like they had to kill Shi Yan at any cost. Still not enough power. Shi Yan sighed inside. He knew that if he could gather enough energy, he could open all the eyes on the giant sword, and that would boost the power of the mysterious sword to double. If he had done that, he believed that he could have broken the devil bell with only 1 slash. Unfortunately, even if he had borrowed the external forces, he could hardly control the giant sword wholly, and couldn't bring out its best. Seeing the 2 remaining layers of devil light pressing down, he couldn't help but watch them since he had already urged too much energy and couldn't mobilize more at this moment. Right at this moment, a roar came up from the seawater. At that point, people could only see a colossal trident carrying a humongous amount of seawater shooting towards the devil bell. As the trident emerged from the sea, a sharp aura covered the entire Sun Island all of a sudden. The explosive sound was created when the trident jabbed at the devil bell. Countless phantoms of ancient demonic beasts on the bell faded somehow. Also, the 2 devil light layers pushing down on Shi Yan were scattered when the bell got hit. Seeing the trident, Shi Yan was shaken. He knew that the peerless warrior of the sea tribes had come. "Who the hell are you?" Bo Sun discolored, looking at the hefty man slowly emerging from the sea. Nu Lang, the patriarch of the Black Flood Dragon clan. Bo Sun was scared as he shouted, "What does it matter to you? Your sea tribes are also bullied by the human race. Why you want to help humans?" "I'm not going to help the humans. I only aid Shi Yan himself." Nu Lang wore a calm face as he nodded at Shi Yan. "Facing those demon tribes, will our agreement still work?" Shi Yan smiled and nodded. "Of course." Chapter 481. Corpse Mount, Corpse Sea. Chapter 481. Corpse Mount, Corpse Sea. Unfor. As Nu Lang arrived, Shi Yan's danger was relieved. Both of them were at the 3rd sky of Spirit Realm, so Nu Lang shouldn't bear much loss fighting against Bo Sun. At his debut, he had smashed the devil light emitted by the evil bell, which obliterated the threat Shi Yan was facing. Shi Yan seized the chance and gathered the power in his body to ensure the energy his body needed. Demon King Bo Sun got mad, his roar reverberating the whole Sun Island. As they were all foreign tribes, Bo Sun assumed that Nu Lang was supposed to have the same resentment as him, and that he would treat the humans as their enemies. It was out of his expectations that Nu Lang came to help Shi Yan. Bo Sun found it hard to accept this. Human race is always hostile to alien races. The sea tribes are also alien races to them. They've oppressed you for thousands of years. At present, the human race is in danger. I don't need your help here. As long as you play cool and don't poke your nose in it, I can subdue the spirit of the human race. From now on, you sea tribes won't need to worry about humans taking action against you. Why don't you want it?" Bo Sun's face was filled with a murderous aura, while cold light sparkled in his eyes. He appeared to be annoyed. Nu Lang wore a feigned appearance, frowned, and said coldly, "I've told you. I come here to aid Shi Yan. It doesn't mean that I want to cooperate with the human race." "For this kid?" Bo Sun sneered. "What can he offer you? What makes you cover him like this? He can give me something you can't." Nu Lang's eyes became burning. Just with the thought of the life original fluid, which would guide his steps to the true God realm, he couldn't hold his excitement. He'd been yearning for the true God realm for a really long time. From the day he had entered the spirit realm, he'd held the hope that he could enter this realm one day. Hundreds of years had passed while he always focused and tried his best for this goal. After he entered the third sky of spirit realm, he thought about it day and night in the hope that he could break through soon. Shi Yan's life original fluid was magical. To him, it was the encounter he was dreaming about desperately. Compared to the life original fluid, the future of the endless sea was nothing. As long as he could reach the true God realm, even if Nu Lang didn't swaggeringly invade the great sea areas of the endless sea, his existence would be enough to shake anybody there. In the future, he could even take the sea tribes out of the endless sea, heading to a vaster world. Only the true God realm could help him achieve the wonderful future that he hadn't dared to dream of before. What did he offer you? Bo Sun's face was cold. What he can give you, I can too. You can't. Nu Lang shook his head and smiled. Stop talking nonsense. If you want to touch Shi Yan, forgive me, fella, but I won't just stand and stare. I came here from the seabed to protect him, to ensure that he would have not even a single wound. So, you're determined to protect him? True. Bo Sun grinned fiendishly and roared. Then don't blame me for showing no mercy. I want to see the peerless techniques of the sea tribes. Then Bo Sun opened his mouth, spurting out a devil light, which was immediately absorbed by the devil bell. A soul-oppressing sound echoed from the bell from time to time. It looked like many demon gods had been revived from the antiquity time. These disorderly waves of wild, ghostly sounds seemed to drag people into the demon area, enchant them, and keep them from staying conscious. At the same time, Bo Sun soared up from his white bone throne as sharp beams of light shot out from his 5 fingers. These beams shot over and intruded the giant bone claw and the skull in the sky, which made the surging energy on these 2 colossuses more intimidating. Bo Sun had urged all of his powers, yet Nu Lang wasn't afraid. He flung the trident in his hand. Suddenly, dozens of transparent water monsters jutted out from the sea around the area. They had a serpentine shape and were condensed from the seawater. They were towering the area like sky pillars, emitting the intent domain of the ocean, accommodating everything. The 10 water monsters were like the flickering candles in the wind, rocketing from the sea and striking towards the giant white bone claw and the skull. Abruptly, all of the terrifying surging energy and the ghostly cloud above the Sun Island were smashed broken. The barrier that confined the earth and heaven essence, Qi, had vanished into thin air. These 10 towering water monsters swayed, fighting with the bone claw and the skull. Nu Lang turned himself into a strong wave, holding the trident to battle with Bo Sun. Wind and cloud discolored while the earth and firmament darkened. Furious surging energy tore the space, making the heaven and earth forces in the Sun Island change, radiating a brilliant light. Tsunamis constantly raged in the surrounding area. The air was extruded while making a strange hissing noise. Wherever these beams of light crossed, they left deep holes in the land, which looked really exaggerated. As Nu Lang had arrived, not only did he release Shi Yan, but also freed Ouyang Luoshang and Tang Yuannan. The giant white bone claw and the skull were aimed at Nu Lang only, not having more tricks to deal with the other 2. This gave them time to breathe and recovered the energy that they had consumed. What did this boy do to have Nu Lang's protection? Tang Yuannan was suspicious, walking to him. He forced a smile. I have found that I can't understand you lately. Nu Lang's really extraordinary. His fame as the #1 warrior of the sea tribes is real. Ouyang Luoshang exclaimed slightly, then said again, Bo Sun has a subtle, mysterious powers. The rumor's true, though. I used to think that I had absorbed the moonlight for 1,000 years, which should enable me to deal with Bo Sun without falling into a disadvantage. But today I know that if Bo Sun urges all of his powers, I'm no match for him. Bo Sun's been famous for years. Of course, he isn't a typical person. Tang Yuan Nan looked solemn. In the endless sea, only Chao Chiu Dao, Yang Tian Emperor, and Yang Yi Tian have the power to battle with him. Besides them, the others could only hold it for a certain period. It's impossible to gain the upper hand from the two great demon kings. How about the king corpse? Shi Yan was bewildered for a while and then asked. One corpse king isn't the demon king's opponent. Tang Yuan Nan mused as if he was considering, then said, Anyway, if the two king corpses join hands, they would be able to deal with one demon king. His face went shocked, looking at Shi Yan. Hey, I heard that one of the king corpses gained his intellect and his well-being thanks to the relationship with you. Is it true? Smiling and nodding, Shi Yan didn't want to conceal. Yeah, a freak combination of factors. I don't know what happened, but I do have a subtle soul connection with the king corpse. Haha, it's weird for me too. I didn't expect that I could vaguely sense the aura of the king corpse from this far distance. Since the two king corpses have gained their intellect and consciousness of their beings, they became so dangerous. They've taken the corpse god sect and snatched the tyrant role of Qingming. Tang Yuan Nan was more serious. You should pay attention. The powers of the king corpses have been enhanced thoroughly. When dealing with them, don't be careless. Harumph, do you really think that we're the same as humans? Right at this moment, a sharp voice arose from the sea. A coffin flew up from the water. Standing on the coffin was a hairy king corpse with sharp hands. He was looking at Tang Yuan Nan with brutish eyes. Under his attentive gaze, Tang Yuan Nan was embarrassed, clasped his fist, and greeted. I spoke thoughtlessly. Another coffin appeared from the cloud. Another king corpse stood there as the coffin was slowly descending. King corpses could use the powers of the 5 elements, even if they were in the sky or underground. Nothing was beyond their ability. The seawater in the endless sea was also one of their sharp weapons. As the 2 king corpses arrived, they all heard what Tang Yuanen said and were staring at him wickedly. The king corpse in the sky had calm eyes looking more human. He was the king corpse that had the direct connection with Shi Yan. After he landed, he smiled amicably at Shi Yan. Although the smile on his hairy face was horrible, everybody could see his goodwill. Thanks for coming, Shi Yan smiled to them and said in a friendly manner, This matter has nothing to do with you guys. Without you, we would still be the slaves of the 3 god sect, never having a chance to make a turn. The king corpse from the sky beamed a smile. We appreciate you a lot. The aura on your body's something we like, too. You gave us a big favor, so we should pay you back. It's what we should do. The other king corpse didn't have a human face. He still looked pretty brute, his eyes callous. He seemed unable to control his emotions well. However, he was calm, looking at Shi Yan with curiosity. A strange light flashed in his eyes. I'm called Corpse Mount, and he's called Corpse C. Corpse C hasn't gained full consciousness yet, so he can't control himself well. We need you to help him a bit. The king corpse Shi Yan Nu pointed at himself to introduce his name, and then introduce the other. This was the first time the king corpses introduced their names to the others. Sure, Yan was surprised for a while. He didn't expect that these 2 king corpses would have names. Corpse Mount and Corpse C, odd names. Anyway, they weren't human, so it was already good if they could name themselves. One shouldn't ask for more. The same way. Sure, Yan pondered, frowned, and asked. Corpse Mount nodded, yes, that way. He then shifted his look to Corpse C. Don't worry. His method's good for us. You just need to feel it. Apparently, Corpse Mount was the boss. Under his comforting words, Corpse C nodded, simple-heartedly. His brutal, bloodthirsty eyes foolishly looked at Shi Yan. Shi Yan's mind was struck. Under the other's look, he unexpectedly had the thought of slaughtering. Forcefully pressing down the dark desire in this mind, he came to Corpse C. Next, he urged the energy in his body, condensed the life seal, and put it on Corpse C's chest. 7 layers of the seal piled up, disappearing into Corpse C in just a blink of an eye. Strange light expanded all over his body. The chaotic thoughts in Corpse C's brain were stabilized by the help of the life seal, becoming magically tranquil. Corpse C's bloodthirsty eyes gradually calmed down. The aura of death on his body was also diluted to a great extent. This gave people a human-like feeling, really magical. Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshan were stunned on watching the scene. What kind of a martial technique is that? Tang Yuan-nan let out a sigh. This doesn't belong to the 3-god sect, neither the Yang family. Kid, where did you learn it? Shi Yan smiled but didn't answer, just kept quiet, looking at the change in Corpse C. Chapter 482. Wind and Clouds Discolor. Chapter 482. Wind and Clouds Discolor. After Corpse C got the life seal, he was like an enraged beast turning into a nice lamb. The life seal was changing his body, adjusting his chaotic conscious, and waking him from the realm of insanity. If a beast could calm down and reason with human intellect, its intimidating features would be enhanced incredibly. Everybody knew that. Corpse C's change made Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshan astounded. The life seal Shi Yan had performed was mysterious beyond anything they had ever seen before. This sort of a martial technique didn't belong to the 3-god sect, neither the Yangs. This shocked and frightened the two a lot. As for the doubts of these two, Shi Yan didn't want to explain. He just smiled and watched Corpse C. Corpse C restored his calmness not long after that, becoming like Corpse Mount. His wild eyes had the trace of excitement he had just been familiar with. Next, he glanced at Corpse Mount, nodded to him, and then shifted his look to Shi Yan, his eyes grateful. "Thank you." Corpse C spoke up in human language. Shi Yan was shaken and burst out laughing. "Good then. Seems you've successfully changed your fate. From now on, you can separate yourself from your fellows. You're smarter and more conscious than them now, and know how to communicate with humans. I think your future will be brighter, not as simple as what you have now." The 10,000 years old king corpses, Corpse Mount and Corpse C, had their eyes brightened with blooming light. "What can we help you with?" asked Corpse Mount all of a sudden. Shi Yan looked at the battle between Bo Sun and Nu Lang. His face darkened. "I heard that Bo Sun used to visit your corpse god sect. He had talked to you guys." "Yeah, he's a dangerous fella. Last time, Corpse C and I had to join forces to somehow resist him." Corpse Mount rose up as the fierce fighting emitted from his whole body. He seemed to want to join Nu Lang in fighting Bo Sun to take revenge. As Shi Yan sensed the change of the aura on his body, he curled his lips. "I hope you can deal with him." He pointed at Bo Sun. The two king corpses nodded simultaneously. They didn't wait for Shi Yan's order and turned into 2 brilliant beams of light, striking directly towards Bo Sun. The king corpses hovered in the air as 5-element powers vehemently spread out from their bodies. The light of the metal, wood, water, fire, and earth elements radiated from them, turning into brilliant 5-element halos, which could seal and lock any creatures, shooting directly towards Bo Sun. When Bo Sun fought with Nu Lang alone, their powers were equal and no one could gain the upper hand from the other. But since the two king corpses had joined their battle, Bo Sun received double the pressure. He couldn't help but urge all of his tricks to defend. The giant white bone claw, the skull, and the devil bell were retrieved to surround him, continually releasing devil halos to prevent Nu Lang and the king corpses from getting close to him. Bo Sun was really strong, but Nu Lang and the king corpse weren't weak either. The combined force of the 3 of them had completely stopped Bo Sun, clamping him and pushing him into a difficult situation. On the other side, the war devil was entangling with demon King Chi Yan. The black iron body of War Devil had no flaws. Any martial techniques or magical powers struck on the War Devil couldn't really hurt him. The War Devil knew how to utilize all kinds of deep understanding abilities of his body. While he was taking action, darkness covered everything. Usually, black holes appeared on his body that swallowed everything, including a big part of Qi Yan's power. This made Qi Yan no threat for him at all. War Devil alone was pushing Qi Yan into difficulty, while the latter was trying to use many kinds of different powers to find something that could deprive the fighting ability of the War Devil. However, he made no progress after a long while. The War Devil not only had the inexplicably strong body, but a strange, magical soul which had the features of a black hole. It could swallow all kinds of soul energies that Qi Yan released. Qi Yan's soul attacks fell into the War Devil's body like a stone falling into the vast sea, making a small ripple before disappearing forever. The two great demon kings arrived at the Sun Island to destroy the sun, moon, star gods, but War Devil, Nu Lang, and the king corpses were hindering them, forcing them to defend in the Sun Island without a chance to break out. The energy of heaven and earth changed greatly, while earth-shaking forces impacted on the Sun Island. This alarmed many strong warriors of the crowded Endless Sea. Snow Dragon Island. A white bone clone hiding deep inside the Snow Dragon Mountain seemed to receive the summon from its master. It flew out from the mountain, heading to the Sun Island. Demon Tribe's hotshots, including Mo Chi Ta, saw the white bone clone leaving. They were all pale, reluctant for a while before taking out their secret treasures and following the white bone clone to the Sun Island. What's happening? Fear flooded Yu Ro's charming face. She was staring stunningly at the white bone clone of Bo Sun. She mused before finally speaking up. Bo Sun must have encountered strong enemies out there. Otherwise, he wouldn't summon his white bone clone. In the Endless Sea, only Chao Chiu Dao and Yang Yitian have the powers to trouble Bo Sun. Is he fighting with Chao Chiu Dao? This has nothing to do with us. Dishan held an indifferent face, not caring about Bo Sun's life. We came out form the chasm battlefield, not to be limited in the Endless Sea. Our ancestors came from the divine Great Land. Bo Sun can't bring the Wings clan a bright and prosperous future. You still think about him. A trace of confusion appeared on Yu Ro's face. She sighed, then gently shook her head. He had left the Endless Sea 1 year ago. We have no news from him since. Sigh, if the situation didn't force us, we wouldn't be like this. I wonder if he would bear a grudge against us. I've made the oath that as long as he doesn't die, he'll be my master, Dishan said solemnly. The one who could bring us out of the abandoned place, the one who has the bloodline of the immortal God King. According to our ancestors' teachings, he's our master. Although the situation has forced us, and we had to depend on Bo Sun to save our races from extinction, we have never treated Bo Sun as our master. If Bo Sun dies, we're freed from the demon tribes, never to be controlled again. Our master's extraordinary. Yu Ro smiled and nodded in agreement. We don't know where he's been during 1 year. Although we're dependent on the demon tribes, we didn't do anything to betray him. I hope he would forgive us. Whether he forgives us or not, he's still our master. What we can do in the future is to beg for his forgiveness. Dishan was stubborn. We should wait patiently. Sooner or later, we will return back to our master. It's our ancestors' will. It should have some meanings there. Only when the Wings clan follow our master can we have a better future. The demon tribes had abandoned us that year, making us get confined for so many years in the abandoned place. Even though we're back in the Grace mainland, we still remember that lesson. As Yu Ro heard him talking about the old stories, she nodded. I hope that one day our fortunate master can enter the realm strong enough to lead the Wings clan back to our ancestors' land, taking back what belongs to us. I believe our master can do that. It shouldn't take long. In 10 years max, I think Master can have the power to fight against Bo Sin. Dishan was certain, talking again arrogantly. Give me 30 years more, and I'm sure I can break through the third sky of Spirit Realm. At that time, even if our Master doesn't come to us, we still have the powers to leave the demon tribes. Yu Ro's eyes brightened. How about the demonic Sound Clan? Tianmo and the others aren't stupid. They should know about the deep meaning in our predecessors' wills. Perhaps they're like us. We're all waiting for the right time. I hope so. Kiara C. Immortal Island. The island that once belonged to a family was now flooded with dark, cold een. Countless dark dwellers from the underworld were walking back and forth on the Immortal Island, using some mysterious method to convert the earth and heaven essence chi into dark een chi, suitable for their cultivation. This was a big project that needed countless materials to form the most well-known firmament dark transfer array of the underworld. They had to use the water of the Netherworld River and pour it onto the Immortal Island. Besides, they needed an innumerable number of spirits from resentful souls. If they wanted to move the firmament dark transfer array completely, it would take around 100 years. The Dark Dwellers had started the preparation work. Today was the time of the array's crucial change. The 3 great Yama kings of the underworld had gathered, urging their supernatural powers to carry out the first cycle of the change. The light at twilight was hindered by the dark chi, unable to pierce through to the Immortal Island. The 3 Yama kings stood in a triangle in the middle of the island. They were condensing the dark chi. However, when the first cycle had just begun, the 3 Yama king all sensed an inexplicable change in the heaven and earth's energy. The Dark Dwellers were good at using soul senses. The 3 Yama kings exchanged looks, then stopped their moves, starting to trace the subtle change in heaven and earth to find where the anomalous event that had happened. Not long afterward, all the 3 Yama kings paled, jolting up from their spot. A strange change comes from Yuan Luosi, the sun island of the 3 god sect. Demon Chi's surging there. It's obvious that both Sun and Chi Yan are fighting with strong warriors there. This fight is so fierce. Perhaps it would turn the whole situation of the Endless Sea upside down. We shouldn't linger. We must use the fastest pace to get there. If we're late, I'm afraid it would be pretty hard for us to live in peace in Endless Sea. Go. The 3 Yama kings exchanged thoughts, then simultaneously turned into a bunch of lights, shooting towards the sun island of the 3 god sect. At the same time, Yang Yitian and Xiaqing Ho in the Vault of Heaven Sea area also noticed the strange change of the heaven and earth. They all left their cultivating places. Undersea, Yin Hui received the message from an elder of the Black Flood Dragon clan. He then departed from the Silver Shark clan, heading to the Sun Island. Strange things happening on the Sun Island had shaken all the hotshots of the Endless Sea on land and underwater. As the earth-shaking battle progressed on the Sun Island, many warriors were on their ways to the island. The entire Endless Sea was burning. Chapter 483, Chao Chiu Dao. Chapter 483, Chao Chiu Dao. Yuan Luosi, the Sun Island. A great fight that was worth being written down in the history was happening like a raging fire, and its participants were all the true peak realm warriors of the Endless Sea. Bo Sin, Qi Yan, Nu Lang, the king corpses, the sun god and moon god of the 3 god sect, and the new face of the Endless Sea, Shi Yan. Hotshots of the Endless Sea gathered. Not only that, an innumerable number of strong warriors on the land and undersea came there using their secret treasures or the teleporting formation, or any other means that could bring them there as fast as possible after they sensed the strange change in heaven and earth. Many people knew that this battle would turn the impasse of the Endless Sea upside down. Perhaps, after this battle, the Endless Sea's destiny would be determined ultimately. On the island, Shi Yan was recovering his powers silently while holding the mysterious giant sword, watching the fights between the two demon kings and the others. He held his vigilance discreetly. Chao Dao should be here soon. From Yuan Luo Si, the Chao family's island was further than the corpse god sect. That's why Chao Dao couldn't arrive as fast as the king corpses. Anyway, Chao Dao was a true hotshot of the Endless Sea. If he flew at his full speed, he could arrive the Sun Island not long after that. Shi Yan was lingering and hadn't taken action because Chao Dao hadn't come yet. He was still guarding against this real master from the Chaos, who had his name famous in the Endless Sea for so many years. He had killed Zui Yufeng not long before this event. If he were Chao Dao, of course, he wouldn't have spared his life. If such a hotshot was hiding away, waiting for a chance to ambush him, he was afraid that he would be dead before he could make any reaction. Thus, he didn't dare to join the battle, just cautiously being on the alert. Here he comes. The moon god suddenly sighed, looking at the general direction of the Tuda Sea. Moonlight in her body suddenly condensed. Tang Yuan and seemed like he was about to encounter the archenemy. The name of Chao Dao had been famous for so many years on the Endless Sea. The power of the Chao family in Endless Sea was so tremendous. No one on the Endless Sea dared to look down on Chao Dao, or knew what this martial art addict would do. A faint light appeared from far away. At first, it was like the light of a firefly, not bright but really flickering. However, after 3 seconds, that faint light bloomed like a flame. Seconds later, that halo could even cover the sky and hinder the earth. Unexpectedly, it made the dark chi above the Sun Island disperse. Inside the brilliant halo, an old man with senile, gloomy face slowly appeared. He was wearing a simple green warrior clothing. His gray hair were tied into a chignon and his eyes bright. He didn't appear to be a good-looking man with flashy and fierce markings or any precious accessories. There was nothing majestic about Chao Dao's appearance. Quite the contrary. He looked more like an average old man. Without his bright pupils, many people couldn't imagine that such an appearance belonged to the famous Chao Dao in the Endless Sea. Tang Yuan Nan's face was solemn. He clasped his fist to greet Chao Dao before the old man descended to the island. Master Chao. Ouyang Luoshang was standing in the air, not moving an inch. She seemed to be seriously assessing Chao Dao, as she had sealed herself for 1,000 years inside a meteorite. She was much older than the latter. Although her current competence wasn't as strong as his, she wouldn't humble her status to fawn over this hotshot from the Chao family. Hello, Cult Master Yang, Chao Dao nodded. His face was calm while the light in his eyes dimmed. After exchanging greetings with Tang Yuan Nan, he immediately shifted to the earth-shaking fight on the Sun Island while frowning. As his eyes caught the sight of the war devil, he couldn't even hide his surprise. He was dumbstruck for a while before he started to search for the target. His eyes eventually stopped at Shi Yan. You've brought this black iron puppet out of the antiquity lofty dragon graveyard? He killed Zui Yufeng? Shi Yan wore a cold face as he snorted and then nodded. Yes. Not bad, kid, Chao Dao nodded. When I was at your age, I had just the cultivation base of Earth Realm. You're now at the Sky Realm, and can even borrow the external forces to reach the Spirit Realm. Not bad, really. Yang Tian Emperor does have a good fortune. I admire him for this aspect. Shi Yan's countenance still darkened, not choosing to answer him. He didn't get the real purpose of Chao Dao. However, with Nu Lang, the king corpses, Tang Yuan Nan, and Ouyang Luoshang were all here, together with the level 8 demonic beast king of demonic insects and the devouring gold silkworm on his shoulders, if he needed to fight the old man, and the latter didn't ambush him. Shi Yan didn't worry much. As they saw Chao Dao arrive, Qian, Bo Sun, and Nu Lang became more cautious, even though they were in the middle of the battle. Everybody knew of Qiao Dao's competence. If he took action and joined one side, the other side wouldn't be comfortable. His presence would change the whole picture. Thus, everybody was saving their strengths to deal with him in case he decided to join any side. Qi Yan was also careful. Under the wanton bombarding of the war devil, he revealed his dangerous features. Different from Bo Sun and Nu Lang, the puppet didn't care who Qiao Dao was. Shi Yan had ordered him to urge his full force to deal with Qi Yan. So he only remembered this, maliciously attacking the other without leaving him a leeway. His brutal, wild attacks aimed to kill Qi Yan, forcing him to pay full attention to their battle. Master Qiao, the main enemies of the Endless are certainly the Dark Dwellers and the Demon Dwellers. If we don't erase these two great foreign tribes, all the Endless Sea's warriors would be killed or enslaved. Master, Qiao does consider the whole picture. I guess you get it well. Don't bury the future of the Endless Sea because of some personal grudge. Tang Yuan Nan was a bit hurried, trying to persuade the other painstakingly. Ouyang Luo Shang remained silent, but she was secretly alert in case the other suddenly ambushed them. Of course I know who are the main enemies. Under the attentive looks of Shi Yan and the other two, Qiao Dao arched the corner of his brows. He mused, looking at Demon King Bo Sun. Bo Sun started to reveal his reluctant defense under the besiege of Nu Lang and the two king corpses. When his eyes met Qiao Dao's eyes, he revealed a serious face for the first time, snorted, and said, Qiao Dao, your men were killed, but you don't plan to take revenge. Are you going to help your enemy to deal with me? You should know that I come here this time to kill Shi Yan. You and I have the same target. It's better to unite and kill this brat first. We will solve the business between us then. Qiao Dao kept silent and didn't say anything. If Shi Yan won't die today, in the future, even if the demon dwellers have to leave the Endless Sea, the whole situation of the sea won't turn as you expected. The brat can even get Nu Lang involved. Men, like him, don't care about rules. Later, when he enters the spirit realm, with his potential, he will replace the overlord positions of yours and Yang Yitian's. Bo Sun continued his advice. As long as he lives, he's the biggest threat to you and Yang Yitian. I didn't think that this demon king could be so wordy. Qiao Dao frowned, remained unmoved. As the dark dwellers and the demon dwellers dare to invade the Endless Sea, you should have thought about your defeat one day. Yeah, I think today is that day, the day your two tribes are doomed. Bo Sun, you shouldn't have let your real body come here. If you were still in the demon area, even if you were besieged, you could have used the advantage of the demon area to flee deliberately. But it's not that easy in this Endless Sea. Then an amethyst sword flew out from Qiao Dao's sleeve, purple light radiating from it. Beams of purple light were everywhere, drifting away all of the ghostly clouds. A vicious current was generated in the middle of the purple clouds, with mirages of beautiful, glorious fairylands appearing in them. In the mirages that could quiet down people's minds, the hostile aura was strengthened strangely. Wilted, yellow leaves fell piece after piece from the purple clouds. They were made from condensed energy, which was thick like a shower and sharp like swords. The torrential dark qi on the Sun Island was diluted vastly when the leaves fell. They disappeared from the sky over the Sun Island at the speed that naked eye could observe. The amethyst sword moved slowly. In the purple halo, a vicious current locked on Bo Sun, slowly approaching him. The heavy, vicious aura flooded the Endless Sea, gradually gathering on Qiao Dao's body. His aura became chilling to the bone. Moreover, it was getting more intimidating over time. Boom, boom. Thunderclap arose in the void, and lightning danced. The halo created by the amethyst sword had unexpectedly driven the strange change in heaven and earth. Inside the lightning, Qiao Dao's figure was fading away gradually until he completely disappeared. The aura on his body suddenly became invisible. It seemed like he had never come here. No one could use his soul consciousness to detect his location. Shi Yan, Tang Yuannan, and Ouyang Luoshang were more anxious than anyone else after the old man disappeared. They released the protective halo and discreetly stayed alert. Compared to them, Bo Sun was even more agitated. Chao Chiu Dao's shadowless path was famous all over the Endless Sea. When he was totally out of people's sight, it was the moment he really wanted to take action. Everyone knew this. The shadowless path was the profound divine ability that Chao Chiu Dao had comprehended. Once he used it, his essence, qi, spirit, and soul would be hidden away, making him completely disappear in the world. No one could detect him in hiding. Sometimes his opponents got killed before they realized when he took action. The most formidable feature of the shadowless path was the murderous intention, which was really magical. Many enemies of the Chao family had died unknowingly. In some cases, they were killed while cultivating. Until they died, they didn't know that Chao Chiu Dao was there to kill them. The shadowless path helped Chao Chiu Dao swagger in the Endless Sea. He was the character that planted fear everywhere. Enemies of the Chao family had to live in fear every day, not knowing when and why they were killed. Perhaps it would happen when they were having lunch, when they were asleep, or even when they were talking with the others. Their deaths were sudden and without any known causes. Be careful. Tang Yuannan reminded Shi Yan with a low voice, his face solemn. He was afraid that Chao Chiu Dao's main target was Shi Yan. Chapter 484, Yang Tian Emperor. Chapter 484, Yang Tian Emperor. Shi Yan didn't dare to distract his mind, attentively watching everywhere in case Chao Chiu Dao suddenly took action. It was hard to obstruct the shadowless path. If one couldn't react at the moment Chao Chiu Dao took action, the one who was ambushed would instantly become a dead body. Although it seemed Chao Chiu Dao was aiming at Bo Sun, nobody could guess his moves. No one could be sure whether or not he was faking a strike, then shifting to kill Shi Yan instantly. The moon god and Tang Yuan stood guard on both sides of Shi Yan. They were all waiting in silence. Bo Sun was a bit anxious. Under the clamp of Nu Lang and the two king corpses, he fell into the disadvantaged situation already. If Chao Chiu Dao took action all of a sudden, in that short moment he could easily get hurt. The war devil was intertwining with Qi Yan, not leaving him leeway to watch here and there. Qi Yan could hardly watch Bo Sun's back. Suddenly, a beam of light zoomed over from the east. A white bone clone was flying fast toward them. It was Bo Sun's white bone clone. Receiving Bo Sun's summon, this white bone clone had departed from the Snow Dragon Island and arrived on time to help him cope with this strenuous situation. Bo Sun had 3 white bone clones in total, each of them fabricated by extremely marvelous methods. They all had part of Bo Sun's divine abilities and some bizarre tricks. Years ago, when Xiao Han had just arrived the Endless Sea, one of Bo Sun's white bone clone had snatched him and dragged him to the demon area. That terrifying scene still stayed in Shi Yan's memory until today. At that time, in his eyes, the white bone clones were the most dangerous existence in this world, which had unimaginable earth-shaking powers. It could even rip the barrier of the demon area off, as intimidating as a god. At that moment, he didn't dare to estimate Bo Sun's power. Xia Xianyan used to tell him that Bo Sun was the strongest demon dweller, with the most peerless divine abilities. At that moment, a strong fighting will had erupted from him as he was dreaming of fighting with Bo Sun one day and sitting upright in front of him. Today he did it. Swoosh! The amethyst sword hiding in the purple cloud shot out at this moment. At the same time, a brilliant, sharp beam of light appeared next to the white bone clone. At that moment, Bo Sun's white bone clone was like it got jabbed hard by a sharp weapon. The skeleton of the white bone clone was shaken disorderly, like it was about to lose its frame. Chao Chiu Dao showed himself. The amethyst sword came back to his hand. Light shadows of the sword were circling like thousands of purple lightning, as thick as a shower covering the white bone clone. Beautiful light sparked out from the white skeleton clone. Grumbling impact rose, boiling the seawater around the Sun Island. Waiting until the countless beams of light disappeared, people concentrated their minds and watched. They realized that Chao Chiu Dao had hidden away again, and the white bone clone Bo Sun had summoned had turned multicolored, like it was smudged with ink. It now looked extremely eccentric. Boom! Bo Sun's flesh body shook as he was attacked at his back. Dark qi gushed out continually in the void. Chao Chiu Dao showed himself again behind Bo Sun, piercing Bo Sun right in the middle of his back. Nu Lang seized the change and grinned fiendishly, releasing the trident and violently striking the devil bell. The bell then turned into a beam of dark light, falling down out of everyone's sight. Chao Chiu Dao disappeared again. Bo Sun's face was gloomy. The evil light in his eyes became bright. Clearly it seemed he was enraged. However, he suddenly spurted blood before he could take any action. Terrified expression flashed on his face for the first time. He didn't look at Nu Lang or the king corpses. His complicated eyes were gazing at the endless vast sky, where the dark qi was surging torrentially. Inside the clusters of dark qi, a strange, intimidating power burst out. Transparent bones shot out from the dark qi. Yang Tian Emperor. Bo Sun cried, his face frantic. Shi Yan, Tang Yuan Nan, and Ouyang Luoshang were dumbstruck, looking suspiciously to the sky. In between the clusters of dark qi, space suddenly cracked. A vague, majestic silhouette was breaking a white skeleton clone with his bare hands in the lightning-weaved space. This was the white skeleton clone Bo Sun had summoned from the fourth demon area. It was pitifully broken in the space slit before it could enter the endless sea from the demon area. That man had borrowed the chaotic, turbulent energy in the space to smash that white skeleton clone. The bones that shot out were from the skeleton of that white bone clone. From the lightning-weaved space, that majestic silhouette laughed wildly. Bo Sun, I've confined your other white bone clone in the outer territory space. You will never be able to summon it again. Then that man tore the space slit with both hands and drilled out. He was the head of the Yang family, Yang Tian Emperor. The peerless warrior of the endless sea appeared again after years, having been tortured in the demon area after he had subdued 2 white skeleton clones of Bo Sun. It was like there was a tacit understanding between them, that at the moment Yang Tian Emperor got out from the space crack, Chao Chiu Dao retook action. The amethyst sword appeared with radiant purple halo, covering Bo Sun entirely. Nu Lang and the king corpses exchanged looks and took action together, attacking Bo Sun with their full forces. After Yang Tian Emperor got out of the space crack, he didn't hesitate, joining the battle right away. Yang Tian Emperor came with an irresistible momentum, not caring about the layers of defense Bo Sun had arranged. He shot straight forward, breaking numerous demonic defending walls until he reached Bo Sun's true body and punched him. A heavy, overbearing punch that could block the space slit pounded on Bo Sun's head. Bo Sun had enemies both in front and behind him. As he was about to parry, the purple light had pierced from behind like sharp spears. Under the severe pain, Bo Sun hardly gathered the internal force in his body. He could only strive to get rid of the situation. The dragon horn on his head glowed, gushing out waves of crazy, fierce air to encounter Yang Tian Emperor's fist. Bang! It was like landslides and earthquakes were happening. Grumbling sounds reverberated the whole Yuanluo Sea, making people feel a vague pain in their eardrums. Slits of flesh and blood cracked on Bo Sun's rigid body under this punch. His body was like broken glass looking extremely bizarre. Chao Chiu Dao, Nu Lang, and the king corpses seized the chance to storm forward together. They urged their powers, bombarding crazily on Bo Sun. After this wave of attacks, Bo Sun's flesh body had many open wounds that were bleeding badly, his bones broken. Shi Yan frowned, then sighed. Bo Sun's done. Tang Yuan Nan nodded with a solemn face. Chao Chiu Dao, Nu Lang, the king corpses, each of them is enough to cope with him. The three forces joined hands to deal with Bo Sun, which was enough to fight with him. With Yang Tian Emperor's interference in midway, it's hard for him to find a way to survive. While they were talking, Bo Sun's flesh body showered out blood. He faced the sky, laughing wildly while his body cracked into fissures. Even though the demon dwellers had sturdy bodies, under so many attacks of violent forces, no one could help him. Bo Sun's body was wrecked. A dark beam of light shrank into a dot in the air the moment Bo Sun's body was killed, shooting towards the space crack, disappearing in just a blink. Soul compelling. Tang Yuan Nan couldn't help but shout. Shi Yan wore a terrified face. At the moment his body was exploded, Bo Sun determinately condensed his soul into a small, leaving the flesh body and sneaking into the space crack in a flash to save his immortal soul. Although there were countless dangers inside the lightning-weaved space, which could make his soul disappear forever, it could prevent the others from chasing after him. Everybody knew that the space crack wasn't stable. Anybody who dared to get in could get both his soul and body perished. However, if his soul flew fast enough, it wouldn't be affected by the chaotic forces in the space crack. However, if the body got in together, the risk factor would increase by 10 times. Thus, even though they saw Bo Sun send his soul into the space crack at the last moment, Yang Tian Emperor and the others didn't continue their pursuit. They calmly looked at the crack, urging their soul consciousness to sense. Can't find him. Chao Chiu Dao closed his eyes to sense for a while, then shook his head in regret. The chaotic energies in the crack usually appear, hindering the soul sensing. If we let the soul consciousness go too far, it's hard to call it back. We'd better not to take risks. Never mind, Yang Tian Emperor laughed. Only Bo Sun's fled away. Even if he has divine abilities and can find a shelter in the space crack, it will take several hundreds of years to recover. At that time, perhaps you and I would have the true God realm cultivation base already. Even if he could come back, he wouldn't be a threat. Chao Chiu Dao nodded. There's one more of them. Yang Tian Emperor looked at Qi Yan. He suddenly cried in surprise. Where does this black iron puppet come from? It has such tremendous powers to hold Qi Yan down. Harumph! Chao Chiu Dao frowned and said indignantly, Your Yang family has good fortune. Hearing him, Yang Tian Emperor was stunned for a while before shifting his eyes to Shi Yan. He smiled brightly. Good boy. I can't believe that after I left the Endless Sea, you can still hold the torch of the Yangs to shine on the sea of Endless Sea. Shi Yan lifted his head, smiled, and bent down to greet him. He didn't babble, just briefed. We should kill Qi Yan first, then we'll talk. Good. Yang Tian Emperor nodded cheerily, turning himself into a red light that shot towards Qi Yan. Chao Chiu Dao also took action. Nu Lang and the king corpses didn't move. Kid, do you really need me to work here? Nu Lang snorted, somehow disgruntled. The Yangs do have a deep conspiracy, hiding inside the demon area and waiting for the best chance. When he took action, he immediately made Bo Sun leave with only a beam of soul. I think the stuff here doesn't matter to me anymore, does it? If you want something, you have to extend your hand to reach it. Kill Qi Yan when we still have a chance. Shi Yan curled his lips. If Qi Yan doesn't die today, he'll come to take revenge on the sea tribes soon. Yeah, I think that if you want the best for your sea tribes, you shouldn't let him leave here alive, right? Nu Lang shut his mouth and couldn't help but nod begrudgingly. You guys should help them, too. Shi Yan looked at Corpse Mount and Corpse Sea. Receiving Shi Yan's order, the two 10,000-year-old king corpses from the corpse god sect flew up again, storming towards Qi Yan. Chapter 485. Determine Firmament and Earth. Chapter 485. Determine Firmament and Earth. Bo Sun ran away, while Qi Yan could hardly escape his destiny. The 5 great warriors, War Devil, Yang Tian Emperor, Chao Qiu Dao, Nu Lang, and the King Corpse, took action together. Qi Yan was smashed even faster than Bo Sun. The strongest energies blocked Qi Yan's leeway, under the bombardment of which Qi Yan's flesh body was soon mashed to pulp. At this moment, warriors from everywhere gathered on the Sun Island. Yin Hui from the Silver Shark clan, Yang Yitian, Wu Qin, Gu Shao, Qing Ming, and the others famous characters of the Endless Sea, all came after they got the news. Now they were gazing at the impact point of the attacking energies. Under the furious attacks from all sorts of powers, Qi Yan's fleshy body directly exploded as expected. At the moment when his body exploded, a beam of soul flew out, following Bo Sun's way to enter the space crack. The soul of the third sky of spirit realm warriors had been trained strenuously many times, so it was hard to erase it completely. As the attackers saw Qi Yan's soul flying out, they wanted to stop it, but realized that none of their forces worked. "Don't let him go." Many voices arose above the Sun Island, but too bad that no one had the guts to waste their souls and stop the escapee. Once the soul left the body, physical attacks couldn't do anything to it. If they wanted to destroy the soul of a third sky of spirit realm warrior, they would need some warriors in the same realm, using the soul power to bind the other. Wu Qin, Gu Shao, and the others were only at the first sky of spirit realm. Of course, they didn't dare to do anything. Nu Lang participated this battle because of Shi Yan, so he wouldn't urge all of his powers. Soul fighting was dangerous. If Qi Yan had no way to flee and wanted to die together with them, even Nu Lang couldn't swallow this. He didn't want to take any risks. Although Chao Qiu Dao and Yang Tian Emperor had the power, they didn't master soul fighting. Thus, they couldn't risk it. Yang Yitian was there, but he was also afraid that if he took action, Qi Yan would drag him to death together. People here had wild schemes. While they were hesitant, Qi Yan's soul was getting closer to the space crack. Seeing Qi Yan was about to disappear into the crack, and no one seemed to want to chase after him, Shi Yan, the one no one paid attention to at this moment, suddenly moved. His host soul got out of his sea of consciousness directly. Shi Yan's host soul turned into a beam of silver light, getting near Qi Yan in just a blink. Right at this moment, the third eye of his host soul opened. Silvery flames shot out from his third eye, covering the whole horizon in just a flash. Host soul leaves the body. Yang Tian Emperor's face slightly changed. He didn't think much, and descended next to Shi Yan's body to guard him. When the host soul left the body would be left in an unconscious state. If someone ambushed him at this moment, death was his only consequence. Tang Yuannan and Ouyang Luoshang were alert. Nu Lang, Yin Hui, Xia Qing Ho, and the king corpses also noticed the subtle change. Everybody came close to him, throwing their warning eyes everywhere against those who dared to attack him. "That year, you killed my grandpa Xia, my friends, and you almost took my life." Shi Yan's host soul released a thought that everyone could sense. "Today, also in the Sun Island, I want to erase your soul and spirit and let them vanish into thin air." 9 Serenities, soul-devouring flame. Many people couldn't help but cry with fearful faces. They all knew that no one could tame the legendary heaven flames that could destroy all souls. But now they were witnessing it appear strangely on Earth. Yang Tian Emperor's eyes brightened like a torch. Tang Yuannan and the others held their breath, concentrating their minds while looking at Shi Yan with surprise. Qi Yan's soul shivered, then flashed to escape the coverage area of the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame. You can't hide. Blood has to be paid back with blood. Shi Yan's host soul was brilliant, sending an icy cold thought. Even if you're a demon king, I'm telling you what you're going to receive for messing with Shi Yan. Numerous silvery flames flooded out, covering Qi Yan's soul while it was running away. Under the flames of the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame, Qi Yan's soul was burned little by little, emitting mournful cries. Everyone felt shivers running down their spines on watching the scene. Qi Yan was an illustrious demon king in the 4th demon area. He had been swaggering for so many years, a nightmare of all warriors in the Endless Sea. However, under the effect of the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame, this earth-shaking demon king was burnt pathetically. This scene scared many people, as they instinctively thought that they should never go against Shi Yan. Qi Yan's soul burned in the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame, and finally disappeared completely from this world. The ones who got burned by the 9 Serenities' soul-devouring flame got both of their soul and spirit destroyed and never had a chance to resurrect. In other words, Qi Yan was dead, completely dead. That year, when the Demon King appeared on the Sun Island, he had scared a lot of warriors to death. But today, he was brutally terminated by Shi Yan. "Get back to your body, quickly!" Yang Tian Emperor shouted. Shi Yan's host soul trembled in the air, turning into a silver light falling from the sky. Among the warriors of the Endless Sea, watching the fight, some of them did want to seize the chance and sneak in, but they were scared seeing the formation next to Shi Yan. There was Nu Lang, the #1 hotshot of the Sea tribes, Yang Tian Emperor, the head of the Yang family, Ouyang Luoshang, the new peak warrior, Xia Qingho, the 2 king corpses, Yin Hui from the Silver Shark clan, Sun God Tang Yuanan, and then the extremely intimidating Black Iron Puppet and the level 8 demonic beast. This force was magnificent to the extreme. At first glance, no one dared to move, since they were afraid that their movement would be misinterpreted and the others would crush them to a pulp within seconds. In Endless Sea, no one had ever gathered so many formidable warriors at once like this, and even make them willingly guard his body. But Shi Yan did it. A young man who had spent not more than 10 years in the Endless Sea could shake the heaven and earth. With his personal potential and connections, he had gathered so many strong warriors of the Endless Sea to stand on his side. At this moment, many people started to regret as fear swelled in their hearts. The Queen of Heaven, the Emperor of Earth, Qingming and Gu Shao were the warriors who were eligible to be his match. All felt helpless all of a sudden. It wasn't that they were too weak. It was just that Shi Yan was so strong. This young man was growing up so fast that before they realized, they could only look up to him. Under the attentive looks of everybody, Shi Yan's host soul came back to his flesh body. His eyes brightened as he let out a smile. "Good." Yang Tian Emperor laughed cheerily. His laughter shook the whole world, as if he wanted to announce to the world that the Yang family would become the most brilliant force of the Endless Sea once again, beyond all the other forces. "Yang Ji, long time no see." Yang Etian smiled coldly, nodding at him. "According to our plan, should we deal with the Yama Kings now? People gathering on the Sun Island were dumbstruck, as they didn't understand anything. Shi Yan was startled, looking suspiciously at Yang Tian Emperor. Great-grandfather, you, Chao Chiu Dao, and Yang Etian had some agreement. Leading the demon tribes to Endless Sea, seizing the chance to kill the 2 great demon kings. That's our plan. Yang Tian Emperor curled his lips. From 50 years ago, we have wanted to remove the threat from the demon tribes. We've had plans for him since a long, long time ago. When the demon kings were in the demon area, even if we urged all of our powers, it was hard to kill any demon kings. In the demon area, the powers of the demon kings are even 30% stronger than what they have here. Moreover, they could take advantage of the barrier and their arrays for hundreds of years. Even if we could defeat them, they could retreat safe and sound. Thus, only leading them to the endless sea would give them some restrictions, which would prevent them from borrowing the arrangement and the powers from the demon area. Yang Tian Emperor smiled coldly, telling everyone their earth-shaking plan under their attentive look. It turned out that Chao Chiu Dao, Yang Yi Tian, and him had never actually fought to death. Several fights they had had were just to discuss the martial techniques. After each battle, they stayed hidden, which made the others believe that they were hurt. This was to deceive the demon tribes, giving them the bait that they had the chance to enter the endless sea. Yang Tian Emperor initially intruded the demon area and got confined there by the Demon King, which was a part of their plan. The Yang family had the undying body. During the time he was imprisoned, he had used the blood of the God King, trained it with his flesh body, to make his undying body enter a further step to a deeper achievement. At the same time, every force on the sea targeted the Yang family, making them leave the sea begrudgingly. Next, those forces joined the demon tribes. Changes constantly happened, which were all in the Three's calculations, as they were using their forces to affect the whole picture of the endless sea discreetly, guiding the situation accordingly with the scenario they had planned. Gu Shao, Qing Min, Dongfang Kuai, and Wu Qin had taken part in their plan unknowingly. Little by little, they had fallen into today's situation. When Yang Tian Emperor finished, all warriors there dropped their jaws in astonishment. The three Yama kings are still here. We shouldn't linger. Let's take action immediately, Yang Yi Tian urged. Chao Chiu Dao and Yang Tian Emperor nodded, looking towards the Kiara Sea. Great-grandfather! Shi Yan suddenly recalled something, screaming. What? Yang Tian Emperor smiled. Is there anything you don't understand? The Wings clan and the Demonic Sound clan are my servants. I've put them temporarily in the Dark Tribe and the Demon Tribe. Don't touch them, said Shi Yan with a dark face. Everybody was bewildered, looking at him with a disbelieving countenance. Chapter 486, Spoils of War. Chapter 486, Spoils of War. Both Qi Yan's soul and spirit perished. Bo Sun had only a beam of weak soul sneaked into the space crack. As the two demon kings had perished, the demon tribes in the endless sea were about to receive tragedies pouring over their heads. The Wings clan had joined the demon tribes, and they didn't have a backup, which meant they would become an obvious target. If Shi Yan didn't cover them, the Wings clan would go extinct. The demon tribes were done, and so were the dark tribes. As the dark tribes couldn't avoid this disaster, the Demonic Sound clan would be involved in this catastrophe soon. Whether it was the Wings clan or the Demonic Sound clan, he had rescued them from the chasm battlefield. He didn't hold any grudge against Dishan and Yi Tian Mo. Under the circumstances that their whole tribes would be erased, Dishan and Yi Tian Mo had no choice but to yield to the Dark Dwellers and the Demon Dwellers. This was because of the existence of their races, and nothing they should be ashamed of. As the warriors of the Endless Sea were about to take the once-in-a-blue-moon chance to clean up the threat from the Dark Tribes and the Demon Tribes, if Shi Yan didn't prevent them, Dishan's and Yi Tian Mo's tribes would disappear from this world. Because of the old relationship, he had spoken for their sakes. The Wings clan and the Demonic Sound clan belong to you? Yang Tian Emperor was stunned, his eyes strange. Yes. Yang Tian Emperor grinned and nodded. Go. I have my calculations. Go. Are we going now? Yang Yi Tian urged. Yang Tian Emperor smiled, looking towards the Kiara Sea. It's time to take back our family's territory. Then Yang Tian Emperor, Chao Chiu Dao, and Yang Yi Tian exchanged looks, flying together towards the Kiara Sea. That was where the Dark Dwellers stayed currently. The other warriors of the Endless Sea left on the Sun Island, looked at each other with dismay. They eyed Shi Yan, then the general direction where Yang Tian Emperor and the other two disappeared. Bitter feeling gnawed their hearts. Those three had kidded all the warriors of the Endless Sea, toying them in their hands. Their plan of uprooting the demon tribes had been started dozens of years ago. Finally, they had killed 2 demon kings. When this war ended, the demon tribes would be suffering a great loss, and their men, who had entered the Endless Sea, wouldn't leave alive. The demon kings and the demon masters should be all killed, leaving the 4th demon area unoccupied. People of the Yangs that intruded the 4th demon area would have the chance to take the upper hand, or even the whole 4th demon area territory. In the history of the Grace mainland, there were times the human race took over the demon area. However, there were the particular, infrequent circumstances. The Yang family had endured humiliation and all sorts of tribulations to set the record for a vast wealth like this. You guys still want to deal with me, don't you? Shi Yan's visage darkened. He grinned fiendishly at the group of Qingming, Gu Shao, and Dongfang Kuai. Well, we should settle our debt, but I think it's not the good time now. What do you think? The group of Qingming, Gu Shao, Dongfang Kuai changed their complexions. There were the war devil Nu Lang Yin Hui, Ouyang Luo Shang, Tang Yuan Nan, and the 2 king corpses standing next to Shi Yan. If this force wanted to fight with a force of the Endless Sea, even Chao Chiu Dao of the Chao family and the Yang Yi Tian Martial Spirit Palace couldn't deal with them at ease, let alone the group of Qingming, Gu Shao, Dongfang Kuai. Hearing Shi Yan, Gu Shao and the others were frightened, exchanging looks, while the other warriors surrounding the Sun Island fled pathetically. Get out and enter that white skeleton clone. Waiting until the others had left, Shi Yan let out a slight shout, with his eye gazing at a white skeleton body in a gully in Sun Island. This was Bo Sun's white bone clone. It took its time to come here from the Snow Dragon Island. However, when it got to the place, Bo Sun's body exploded, and his soul sneaked into the space crack. As its master died, the spirit Bo Sun placed in the white bone clone vanished. The white skeleton clone became ownerless. The Holy Spirit God in the profound Chi halo moved, turning into a separate beam of light shooting towards the white bone clone. When he was in the Snow Dragon Island that year, he had promised the Holy Spirit God that he would find it a suitable body. It had been a long time, and now he finally found a good one. There's still a piece of Bo Sun's soul. The Holy Spirit God circled above the white skeleton clone, but didn't hurry to get in. Instead, it sent him a message. Shi Yan smiled coldly. Easy. His eyes gazed at the white bone clone as a cluster of silvery flames came out from deep inside his eyes, getting into the white bone clone. The 9 serenities, soul-devouring flame. The flames got into the skeleton, moving around the head, and then burned the beam of Bo Sun's soul into ashes. Then the Holy Spirit God got in. The empty sockets of the white skeleton clone suddenly sparkled with an icy light. Crack, crack. The white bone clone moved slowly. Cracking sounds echoed from its joints as the Holy Spirit God tried to control its new body. How does it feel? Smiled Shi Yan. Not bad, the Holy Spirit God said. I have never had a real body before, so I'm not used to the feeling of having a body. Yeah, I need time to fit in and see how it would be to have a body. It feels wonderful. Good, very good. Thank you. It's worth the time I've spent with you. Shi Yan nodded contentedly. It's... Nu Lang frowned, then mused. It seemed he wanted to say something, but didn't finish it. Yin Hui smiled embarrassedly. I came late and couldn't help much. Our agreement. They wanted the life original fluid. Don't worry. Wait until the Endless Seas situation steadied. I'll give it to you. I keep my words. Shi Yan's countenance turned solemn. Precursors, the situation of the Endless Sea will change in just a blink of an eye. I think we should amend the agreement between us. What? I need time to think about it. Shi Yan mused and then talked. Suddenly, he arched his brows as divine light shot out from his eyes towards the southeast of the Sun Island. A familiar aura came from the southwest of the Sun Island. It was the ghost hunter. This strange demonic beast had a spiritual connection with him. However, the time they had been on the Sun Island, it was unknown why this beast went together with Qi Yan and Bo Sun. At present, Qi Yan and Bo Sun were all dead, and the ghost hunter then revealed its aura. This surprised him. He hesitated for a while and then turned into a bunch of lights, flying towards the general direction where the ghost hunter's aura came from. The war devil followed him. Nu Lang, Yin Hui, Tang Yuan-nan, and the others were suspicious, since they didn't know why Shi Yan left hurriedly. They thought for a while and then followed him. In the southwest of the Sun Island, dark qi torrentially burst out from under the reef. The seawater was surging while ghostly smog fumed. A thorny humanoid creature was embracing something undersea, trying its best to cope with that thing's resistance. The Devil Bell. This strange, secret treasure of Bo Sun had fallen into the sea. At this moment, the ghost hunter was hugging it tightly, as the bell rippled with devil light, struggling in the ghost hunter's embrace. Its power was so strong that it was constantly shaking the ghost hunter. The ghost hunter's evil, bizarre pair of eyes suddenly opened with a tremendous, murderous aura. It was gazing at Shi Yan. "Long time no see." Shi Yan frowned and snorted. "Why did you go away with Qi Yan and Bo Sun? When we were at the Sky Demon Mountain Rage, I asked you to wait for me there. Why didn't you follow my words?" Inside the ghost hunter's vicious pupils he saw two strange seals. A devilish halo sparkled from the seals, which seemed to affect its soul. All of a sudden, the ghost hunter appeared to struggle intensively to resist the seals in its pupils. Its face grimaced painfully. Bo Sun and Qi Yan had sealed his soul. I saw this sort of seal when I was fighting with them. This seal has the evil power to tie the souls. Nu Lang was standing far from there. He frowned, looking at the ghost hunter. This is a strange creature. He has both the dark qi and the demon qi. I've never heard of this creature anywhere. What's that? Yin Hui and the others were curious, too. Shi Yan didn't explain, just looking at the ghost hunter while releasing his soul consciousness to peek at the beast's status. However, when his soul consciousness approached the beast, a bloodthirsty Yin aura shot out, attempting to damage his soul consciousness. "What?" Shi Yan grinned fiendishly while his pupils shot out a silver light, darting towards the ghost hunter. When the light zoomed over, the tempered, restless ghost hunter seemed like he was stuck by a freezing spell. It stopped moving, and even its eyes turned empty. "Burn!" Shi Yan let out a low shout, using the flame of the 9 Serenities soul-devouring flame to carefully search for the soul seal in the beast's brain while avoiding touching its soul. There was a strange soul connection between Shi Yan and the ghost hunter. As the beast was putting forth everything to deal with the seal in its head, its soul didn't put up any guard, which enabled Shi Yan to enter. Not long after that, the flame searching inside the ghost hunter's soul finally found the exact location of the seal. After Bo Sun and Qi Yan died, the power of their barriers was greatly reduced. That's why the ghost hunter had the strength to resist it. Otherwise, under the restraint of the soul-tying seal, the ghost hunter didn't even have the strength to wiggle. Sizzle, sizzle. As the soul-tying seal was burned, the painful, uneasy ghost hunter restored its calmness. Shi Yan shifted his look to the Devil Bell. A silvery flame flew out from his eyes, instantly got into the Devil Bell, and burned down Bo Sun's seal left inside the bell. The 9 Serenities soul-devouring flame was magically useful in cleaning up those soul-tying seals. It was like flipping one's hand, as easy as a piece of cake. When Bo Sun's seal vanished, the bell became unowned. It didn't struggle inside the ghost hunter's embrace anymore. At this moment, the ghost hunter quietly looked at him and sent him a message. Master! Chapter 487, Master? Chapter 487, Master. Kiara Sea, Immortal Island. The three Yama kings, Abi, Hades, and Haitian, sat neatly in the center of the island, their faces dark and gloomy. They had rushed all the way from Immortal Island to Sun Island. However, when they were about to reach the Sun Island, they found that Chi Yen and Bo Sun were killed. The three Yama kings halted, then left Yuan Luo Sea. The deaths of the demon kings meant that the invasion plan of Endless Sea this time had failed totally. The powers of the three Yama kings were one level lower than the demon kings, and their bodies were much frilier, having difficulties in using the dark weapons. As they had spent much time waiting in Endless Sea, they had consumed a big part of their powers. Seeing the demon kings die, the three Yama kings immediately recognized that if they still lingered in the Endless Sea, they would hardly be able to retreat intact. At this moment, the firmament dark transfer array had been formed primitively, but still they had to use it. The three Yama kings cooperated, pouring their powers into the array to make a strong connection with the river of the Netherworld. Countless dark beasts came out from the firmament dark transfer array, while 10,000 tons of water appeared in the center of the array. All fellows, get in immediately! Yama King Abi shouted. Many dark dwellers lined up and jumped and disappeared into the river of the Netherworld in the firmament dark transfer array. Soon, dark dwellers summoned from many islands disappeared into the river of the Netherworld. The three Yama kings had to build the firmament dark transfer array in a hurry because they wanted to bring the dark chi to the Endless Sea to prepare for their long war. Another reason was that they could use the array to retreat from the Endless Sea at the critical moment. This way, they could get back to the underworld directly without transitioning through the demon area. As long as they were in the underworld, the three Yama kings would have their powers enhanced vastly. In the underworld, even if Yang Tian Emperor, Chao Chiu Dao, and Yang Yi Tian joined hands, they would hardly gain the upper hand over the three Yama kings. In the underworld, there were so many intimidating dark beasts and magic formations. If Yang Tian Emperor and the other two dared to enter the underworld, what awaited them was an endless annoyance. As long as they could get back to the underworld, they would be safe and sound. Dark dwellers disappeared into the firmament dark transfer array continuously. Not long after that, all dark dweller in the immortal world had gotten in their array. Then the three Yama kings stood up, exchanged looks, and released a fierce magnetic wave. When the firmament dark transfer array was about to explode, the three Yama kings turned into three beams of light, disappearing into the array. 1 hour later, Yang Tian Emperor, Chao Chiu Dao, Yang Yi Tian, and XQ arrived at the Immortal Island. We were one step late. Yang Tian Emperor shook his head, then said begrudgingly, "The three great Yama kings seized the chance quickly. I didn't expect that they would build the firmament dark transfer array first. Once they sensed the situation turning bad, they fled back to the underworld directly. I think it's impossible to catch the Yama kings now." Chao Chiu Dao, Yang Yi Tian, and the others also sighed. The three of them had planned for so many years to uproot the whole underworld and the three Yama kings. Unfortunately, their plan was perfect, but its implementation was not. Looking at the bursting firmament dark array, they knew that unless they reached a higher level, they could hardly take action against the Yama kings. While they were still regretting, some figures were flying towards them from the further islands. However, those figures screamed in fear before they could reach the island, then flew away using a faster speed. They're the dark dwellers, left behind. Chao Chiu Dao's pupils shrank. He disappeared all of a sudden. At the moment after that, the others saw the dark dwellers coming from the other island, falling into the sea from the sky. They were dead even before they sank into the sea. Yang Tian and Yang Tian Emperor looked in the direction and then launched their attacks. Those dark dwellers didn't have high realms. Under the slaughter caused by the three great executioners, all those dark dwellers died. Yang Tian Emperor released his soul consciousness, covering the adjacent islands. The end of his brow arched as he teleported away. Not long after that, he reappeared on the reincarnation island of the Xia family. Yi Tianmo, Kaba, and Yimeng were on the reincarnation island with frightened faces. Something big happened. Yi Tianmo's face was gloomy. He frowned. The firmament dark transfer array was activated. I found that the aura of the three Yama Kings had completely disappeared from the endless sea. Are they going back to the underworld? Kaba was shaken. What has happened? I think a great change has happened on the endless sea. And this change made the three Yama Kings know that staying in endless sea is useless now. That's why they hurried to get back to the underworld. Yimeng forced a smile. No one tells us anything. Yi Tianmo wore a complicated face. Kaba and Yimeng had a cold appearance, but they were anxious inside. We're abandoned. Yi Tian pondered for a long while, his face bitter. I've known that the Yama Kings won't remember us at the critical moment. Seems like we have no way out this time. The Yama Kings ran away, which means the Kiara Sea is about to undergo a massive purge. Is it true that our demonic sound clan would be eradicated soon? Kaba and Yimeng were desperate, looking blankly at the sky as sorrow filled their hearts. Are you guys from the demonic sound clan? At this moment, a surprised voice came from above their heads. They were here. Yi Tianmo changed his look, eyeing the figure in the sky with a cautious face. Not long after that, 3 other people appeared above the reincarnation island. Yi Tianmo and the other 2 had strong soul power. Just with a little sensing, they felt completely desperate. They were strong warriors that the clansmen couldn't see through. Yes, it's true. We are the fellows of the demonic sound clan. Yi Tianmo tried to calm down, lifted his head, and answered the man. I know we're about to be doomed, but I want to know what's happened to the endless sea. Bo Sun and Qi Yan are dead, smiled the man coldly. The 3 of Yi Tianmo's group were shaken as they felt powerless, knowing the event they feared the most had happened. The demon kings died, and the Yama kings fled away. Where should they go? Let us die straightforwardly. Yimeng's face was fierce. I know our demonic sound clan would die this time. No one can help us. If you guys come here for it, what are you waiting for? I am Yang Tian Emperor. The man who spoke up first curled his lips. Little Shi Yan said that your demonic sound clan belonged to him. Don't worry, no one dares to touch you. You've chosen a good master. He'll protect you. You won't be affected by this event. Yi Tianmo and the other 2 were dumbstruck. Snow Dragon Island. The strong warriors of Endless Sea, including Wu Qin, Gu Shao, Dongfang Kuai, the Queen of Heaven, the Emperor of Earth arrived at this island and started to kill the members of the demon tribes there. Mo Chi Ta, Xiayan, Cinda, Alex, the 4 demon master were struggling hard under the besiege of the warriors of Endless Sea. Many warriors from the Dark Water territory and Tuda Sea arrived, as they had received the message from their leaders. All forces came to clean up the demon tribes. Bo Sun and Qi Yan are dead. Your demon kings are over, and today is your death day. Dongfang Kuai grinned fiendishly while standing on the Snow Dragon Island, shouting loudly, "Kill!" All the members of the demon tribes became anxious and restless. The demon kings are dead. At the foot of the Dragon Snow Mountain, Dishan shouted in fear. How could it happen? Yu Ro was frightened. The demon kings are dead. What should we do? Bo Sun wanted to kill us too. If we knew that, we wouldn't have left the chasm battlefield. At least, we could preserve our clan there. Run, take our fellows, and run far away as far as possible. I hope that we are not going to be uprooted. Di Shan's face was gloomy. It's our great culpa this time, and no one can help us. If we dare to take life-risking actions, perhaps we can turn it over. We can only run away, Yuro said sadly. I'm going to arrange it. Di Shan nodded. Should be quick. Every minute you can seize a fellow of our clan, more can survive. As Yuro was about to move, she suddenly startled, looking blankly out there, talking disbelievingly. Don't they see us, the wings race? Di Shan was stunned, watching here and there suspiciously. There was a thick jungle at the foot of the Snow Dragon Mountain. Many wooden houses of the Wings clan were built on big ancient trees there. When they recognized the change of the Snow Dragon Island, people of the Wings clan scattered in the jungle and looked at the sky with fear. Around them, so many members of the demon tribes were killed by the warriors of Endless Sea. However, no warrior of Endless Sea entered the Wings clan's territory. Even the Wings clan's members who lived near the demon tribes stayed safe and sound, while the demon tribe members next to them were killed. It seemed the Endless Sea's warriors had some problem with their eyes. They seemed not to see the members of the Wings clan. They were slaughtering the demon tribes, but sparing the Wings clan. As long as they saw the man have wings, that man became invisible in their eyes, and he could save his life from the slaughter. Why is this happening? Di Shan was astounded. Why aren't the human hotshots killing the Wings clan? I don't think humans can be that kind. What's going on? Yuro kept shaking her head. Weird. Really weird. Can somebody tell me what's going on? All members of the Wings clan must not be involved. Di Shan mused for a while and then shouted, Stay where you are, don't move. No one takes action. We just watch. Fellows of the Wings clan wanted to help the demon tribe, but on hearing Di Shan, they all stopped. At the same time, some members of the Wings clan who had been fighting with the others didn't receive attacks. They had no clue why the human warriors didn't touch the Wings clan. This kindness dazzled Di Shan and Yuro, as they had a feeling that this was unreal. Yeah, without Shiryen, your Wings clan would be exterminated. Dongfang Kwai snorted from the sky. You lucky be asterisk stards. Master. Di Shan and Yuro exchanged confused looks, their faces stunned. Chapter 488. Will do as you say. Chapter 488. Will do as you say. Di Shan and Yuro had never expected that Shiryen was their clan savior. 1 year ago, Shiryen disappeared from the Endless Sea, and no news about him was heard. And now, while the Endless Sea was having a great change, the leaders of the forces who used to want to kill him gave him face and spared their Wings clan. What was going on? Di Shan and Yuro were suspicious, blankly looking at the change in the sky. They didn't know what made Shiryen become a blazing character like that. Strong warriors of the human race were still killing the demon tribes. The warriors of the demon tribes who had entered the Endless Sea together with the demon kings were struggling hard to resist, but they were all killed in the end. The Wings clan, under Di Shan and Yuro's orders, didn't participate in this battle, just standing and observing. After an unclear period of time, a young man appeared above the Snow Dragon Island. Nu Lang and the War Devil stood behind him. Qing Ming, Dongfang Kwai, Guzayo, and Wu Qin, the leaders of the Endless Sea, discolored as they saw that young man. They instinctively stayed as far from him as possible, afraid that this young man would trouble them. The Queen of Heaven, Fan Xiangyin, smiled reluctantly and explained softly, As you've asked, we didn't touch the Wings clan. Fan Xiangyin was scared that she would enrage the young man. The rest of them were cautious and anxious at the same time. The young man observed here and there from the sky and smiled, but didn't say anything. The Queen of Heaven breathed out in relief, then blinked at Qingming and the other, signaling them to continue. Qing Ming, Dong Feng Kuai, Gu Xiao and Wu Qing then hurried to order their men to continue their slaughter. They needed to eradicate the demon tribes. Moreover, they warned their men against touching the Wings clan. Dishan and Yu Rou looked at the familiar figure in the sky, their faces shaken. They bent down on one knee, then lifted their heads up to greet him. Master. Shi Yan was floating in the sky. He frowned, mused for a while, and then descended, landing in front of the two. Get up. We, your servants, don't dare. Dishan cocked his head, talking with a low tone. Yu Rou clenched her teeth, didn't say anything. Why don't you dare? We don't deserve your effort. Dishan took a deep breath. When he faced up, his eyes reddened. We deserve punishment. Please grant us that. Yu Rou also lifted her head up, her charming face full of guilt. Master, it's us who weren't determined enough. Please punish us. You did nothing wrong. Shi Yan shook his head and sighed. To save your races, you had to follow Bo Sun. It's all right. If you were stubborn at that time, perhaps I wouldn't have seen you now. Yeah, so you still consider me your master now? Never changed. Dishan was shaken, screaming with excitement. Although we had to count on Bo Su, in the bottom of our hearts, master is always our master. Dishan has vowed to obey master as long as our clan exists. Yu Rou blushed, then nodded determinedly. Get up, smiled Shi Yan. Dishan and Yu Rou looked at each other, hesitated for a while, then stood up. They still felt anxious. Nu Lang, Yin Hui, Tang Yuannan, and the others looked at the two spirit realm warriors of the Wings clan with surprise. As they saw the two of them treat Shi Yan with much respect and compliance, they felt it somewhat inconceivable. They knew that the time Shi Yan had demonstrated his talents wasn't long enough, and that year Shi Yan's realm was still low, without too many tremendous supports. However, Dishan and Yu Rou had recognized him as their master, had they known of his potential at that time. Otherwise, why were the spirit realm warriors willing to humble themselves and serve him as their master? Nu Lang and Yin Hui couldn't figure it out. Some things should be forgotten, you know. I won't keep them in mind. Shi Yan smiled coldly. When we were in the Snow Dragon Island, you guys never hurt me. You even helped me release He Qing Man. When I came near to the Snow Dragon Island, you also reminded me of Bo Sun's presence. I know that you still keep our relationship in hearts. Otherwise, I wouldn't come to Snow Dragon Island today. Dishan and Yu Rou were touched. They got it clear that if Shi Yan didn't come to the island today, the name of the Wings clan would have been removed from this world. Although they didn't know why Qing Ming and the others were scared of Shi Yan like that, they could understand that the Wings clan could avoid this culpa thanks to Shi Yan. Master has saved us again, Yu Rou said softly. The Wings clan memorizes your favor forever. All right, Shi Yan curled his lips. The members of the demon tribes on this island won't escape death this time. After the Holy Spirit God left the Snow Dragon Island, Heaven and Earth Chi here received a big loss. It's not suitable for you guys to stay here cultivating anymore. He paused, then continued, Yeah, you should go to Kiara Sea. I'll arrange a suitable island for your tribes. Of course, Dishan and Yu Rou wouldn't object him. They constantly nodded to show their agreement. Shi Yan, Tang Yuannan suddenly sighed. Although the Snow Dragon Island doesn't have thick essence qi, there are some good islands for warriors to cultivate in the Yuan Luo Sea. You're the star god of our three-god sect. According to our sect's regulations, you have 1/3 of the jurisdiction. You can assign a good island for them to stay in Yuan Luo Sea. Yes, you do have these benefits. Ouyang Luoshang backed him up. After this event, both Tang Yuannan and Ouyang Luoshang could see how tremendous Shi Yan's competence was. a person that could gather Nu Lang, Yin Hui, the king corpses, Xia Qing Ho, and Yang Tian Emperor, and even had a war devil and the king of demonic insects. In the future, he would become the peak existence of the entire endless sea. He also had the star martial spirit of the three-god sect. With this relationship, Tang Yuan obviously wanted to make use of it well. If he could keep Shi Yan and Yuan Luo Si, the three-god sect could borrow this gust of wind to thrive faster. As long as Shi Yan nodded, the three-god sect would become one of the strongest forces in the endless sea. No thanks, Shi Yan just smiled, talking to Dishan and Yuro. Where do you want to go? Yuan Luo Si, or the Kiara Sea, it's up to you. Tang Yuan revealed his concerned face immediately. Wherever you go, we'll follow you. Dishan and Yuro expressed themselves. Shi Yan stayed silent. After a while, under the attentive looks of Nu Lang, Tang Yuan and the others, he cracked a smile and then instinctively looked in the general direction of the divine great land. After we get things settled here, I will leave Endless Sea. This place is just a stop in my journey. It's not the final destination. Everybody was shocked looking at him. Wherever Master goes, we will follow you. Dishan was determined. Yuro nodded. All right, but not now. After I get the way, I will send someone to tell you. Shi Yan smiled. For now, you guys will go to the Kiara Sea of the Yangs. Yeah, the Yang family does not have much manpower right now. We'll need some support to steady the situation in the Kiara Sea. You guys will stay there temporarily. We'll think about the other stuff later. Dishan and Yuro nodded. Shi Yan, Tang Yuan wore an honest face. Kid, you're the star god of our three-god sect. Don't forget that no matter what, the three-god sect walks the same way with you. We'll always be by your side. Then, Tang Yuan darkened his face, looking at Gu Shao, Dongfeng Kuai, and the others, speaking up with low tone. If you want to deal with them, the three-god sect won't shirk back. Qing Ming, Gu Shao, and their men were still watching over the movement of Shi Yan's group. When they met Tang Yuan's cold, evil eyes, they discolored, becoming more anxious. Shi Yan looked towards Tang Yuan's line of sight. Qing Ming, Gu Shao, and the others became tenser under Shi Yan's look. The smile on the Queen of Heaven Fan Xiangyan's face deformed to turn into a forced one, revealing her anxiety. After this event, everybody recognized that the powers Shi Yan could gather were much more significant than the whole Yang family. Nu Lang and Yin Hui were the Sea Tribe's representatives. Xia Qing Ho, Ouyang Luo Shang, and the King Corps were the new prominent warriors of the Endless Sea. Besides them, Shi Yan with his external forces could reach the spirit realm, and he also had the War Devil, the king of demonic insects, and the devouring gold silkworm. With this force, he didn't need Yang Tian Emperor to clean up any force in the Endless Sea. The Heaven-Late Holy Land, the Yin-Yang Wonderland, the Gu family, the Dongfeng family, even if they joined hands now, they could hardly withstand a tremendous threat like Shi Yan. They were terrified. Under Shi Yan's gaze, the warriors who had been swaggering around the Endless Sea for so many years had no guts left. They were trying to force ugly smiles, and didn't know what to do now. Don't be nervous. There are many ways to solve the grudge between us. Shi Yan was extremely joyful, laughing out loud. Don't worry. I don't like violence. We can always solve the matters in peace. Yeah, I think you guys don't dare to violate our treaty this time. I believe that you will be content with your lot. Due to the invasion of the demon tribes and the demonic Sound clan and the Wings clan turning their back to him, the agreement he had with Wu Qin and the other was violated by the other party. He still kept this grudge. As he had the powers enough to destroy these forces now, he didn't need to worry that the terrible history would repeat itself. Slow down. Gu Shao forced a smile on his embarrassed face. He was the one who witnessed the intimidation of War Devil on the seabed. The deaths of Zhou Yufeng and Situ Jie had shaken him. making him know that this Gu family couldn't deal with the war devil alone. And now he had to be honest. "How about you guys?" Sure, Yen laughed evilly, looking at Dongfang Quai and the others. "We'll do as you say." Dongfang Quai cocked his head, feeling helpless. "That's right." Chapter 489 New Legend. Chapter 489 New Legend. Anusur. Editor. Sigma Anusur. Half of a month later. The Endless Sea, after 2 years of having constant great changes, finally quieted down and steadied. The forces that used to attack Shi Yin couldn't help but bow their heads under the young man's powers. They had to transfer precious cultivating materials that their clans had been gathering for hundreds of years to the immortal island as requested. The materials those forced had brought was double the amount the Yang family had accumulated for hundreds of years. After this change, the Yangs were the ones who received the ultimate benefits, as not only they got the cultivating materials from the others, but also intruded the demon area and enslaved the demon tribes. They then started to collect the bizarre and precious cultivating materials of the demon area that had never existed in the Endless Sea. After both Sun and Qi Yan died, the demon area was in chaos. Demon tribes in the area engaged continuously in wars. They would never become a significant threat to the Endless Sea. One part of the Yang family was operating their deeds in the demon area, while the other part took over the Kiara Sea once again. The Yang had cleaned up the evil Wonderland, one of their traders. The cult master got killed on the spot. The Yang family and the Xia family shared the islands that belonged to the evil Wonderland. The Xia family had just become one of the most prominent forces of the Endless Sea as they were walking together with the Yang's family. Nu Lang and Yin Hui of the Sea tribes had 1 drop of the life original fluid for each. They felt delighted. Nu Lang and Yin Hui maintained their personal relationship with Shi Yan. The barren city undersea was richer and more prosperous than ever before. On the seabed, no members of the Sea tribes dared to provoke the Yangs. Nu Lang and Yin Hui had warned all of their members, making them know that the Yang family is the best ally of theirs in the future. Nu Lang was still the best warrior of the Endless Sea, and the Black Flood Dragon clan was still the strongest clan. However, Nu Lang used to admit frankly that in the Endless Sea, the most dangerous person was Chao Qiu Dao, Yang Tian Emperor or Yang Yi Tian, but the new Win Shi Yan. Nu Lang had stated clearly that one day Shi Yan was there. No tribes of the Sea tribes were allowed to raise the tide in Endless Sea. The battle on the Sun Island had changed the whole fate of the Endless Sea and even the demon area, becoming the most exciting page in the history. On that page, the name Shi Yan was prominent, more dazzling than the 3 Yang Tian Emperor, Chao Qiu Dao and Yang Yi Tian. He became the new legend of the Endless Sea. Chiefs of the 4 great clans, including Nu Lang, Yin Hui, Bao Ku, and Li Sha, announced that in the sea areas they would maintain the trading and the friendship with the Yang family. As long as Shi Yan was alive, the Sea tribes would still consider the Yang family the master of Barren City, and they would never have any conspiracy in the city, as they would help the Yangs to maintain the order there. It wasn't because they were giving Yang Tian emperor face. It was because of Shi Yan. Chao Qiu Dao and Yang Yi Tian didn't provoke them because Shi Yan had killed Zhu Feng and Zhong Li Dun. Quite the contrary. They praised the young man as if they didn't hold grudge against him. They even ordered their members not to take revenge on Shi Yan. 3 Gods sect also became harmonious with the Yangs like they had never been before. Tang Yuan then often came to the immortal island to discuss with Shi Yan about the Endless Sea situations. His manners were tender and humble, never considered himself his precursor, but a good friend. The whole picture of the Endless Sea had changed earth-shockingly because of the presence of a young man. The immortal island. This is the immortal canon. The miracle effects of the immortal martial spirit and the immortal blood are written down in this canon. Yang Tian Emperor, the leader of the Yangs, smiled in the main hall of the Yang family. He drew an old book from his sleeve and threw it to Shi Yan. Shi Yan caught the immortal canon, eyeing it with a strange face. Great-grandpa, I just want to know the content of the immortal canon. You don't need to give me the whole thing. Boy, you don't know the pain in our headmaster's heart. Shura King Mo Duanhun shook his head with a forced smile. The immortal canon is the most precious treasure of the Yangs. The headmaster handed it to you now, and don't you know what did he mean? In the hall, the two great Shura kings Mo Duanhun Limu stood. Besides, the key persons of the Yang family like Yang Zhua and Yang Lao also appeared. They were all smiling with Shi Yan. Shi Yan was dumbstruck. Afterward, his eyes brightened. Great-grandpa, the Yang family will belong to you in the future. Yang Tian Emperor raised the corners of his mouth. I've been putting efforts for the whole life, but I could only make the Yang family one of the three outstanding forces of the Endless Sea. And you've been to Endless Sea not more than 10 years. But you've made the Yang the overlord of the whole sea. I have to say, compared to me, the head of the Yangs now, you're much more eligible to lead the Yangs than me. I'm giving you the immortal canon today, which means I'm announcing to everybody that you are the future headmaster of the Yangs. When I'm in need of secluding cultivation, you will take care of the Yangs on behalf of me. Great-grandpa, Shi Yan forced a smile. He hesitated for a while, caressing the canon, then said, Great-grandpa, I'm afraid I have to fail your expectation. Strong warriors of the Yangs were confused hearing him saying so. Why? Even Yang Tian Emperor was astounded. The head of the Yangs in the Endless Sea means the absolute power. You can take it yourself, and it's also what you deserve. Why you deny it? I want to go to the divine great land. The Endless Sea is just a stop in my journey. It's not the final destination. Shi Yan's eyes lit. I've heard lots about the mysterious, magical things about the divine great land. It's the real center of the warriors in the Grace mainland. It has the strongest warriors, the most intimidating beasts and clans. They also have the oldest martial spirit inheritance. And, all above that, Exayanyanes there. Yang Tian Emperor was surprised. He was stunned for half a day before releasing a sigh. So your heart isn't here. Yeah, it's all right. With your potential, even when you're at the divine great land, your name will shock the whole world there, sooner or later. Perhaps it's your real arena. So, I just need to read the immortal canon for a while. Shi Yan smiled. I want to visit the quiet cloud land first to bring my grandfather to the Endless Sea. After that, I'll return the immortal canon to you. Yeah, no matter what, I'm from the Yangs. Even I'll be in the divine great land in the future. I always belong to the Yangs. If possible, when I'm settled down there, I hope you, great-grandfather, and the others will move to the center of the Grace mainland with me. Members of the Yang family were shaken, their faces excited. In fact, in the eyes of the people from the divine great land, we, the warriors of the Endless Sea, are just barbarians. Sure, Yen Muse then decided to tell them the truth. They have the true god warriors or the 10,000 years ancient factions. They even have more mysterious lands as their territories, much bigger. It's the peak gathering of the martial path. We shouldn't be the frog sitting under its coconut shell forever. Yang Tian Emperor said with a happy face, Boy, you're stronger than I am. Mo Duanhun and Limu were also amazed, looking at Shi Yan with excited eyes, just like he was hiding a lot of treasures on his body. There's no force in the Endless Sea able to threat the Yang family. At this moment, we should envision further, smiled Shi Yan. Everybody thought a bit, then nodded in agreement. You want to go to the quiet cloud. Yang Tian Emperor pondered for a while. It's good, though. We should thank the Shi family. Without them, we don't have you now or the glory the Yangs have today. Bloodline's something we can never deny. You go and get here. Paused. Yang Tian Emperor then arranged. I will assign the Shura Blood Guard to go with you. We'll ride the demonic beasts, then we can bring all the members of the Shur family to Endless Sea at once. What do you think? Shur Yen nodded cheerily. It's awesome, then. Go. I'll arrange this. Yang Tian Emperor raised his eyebrows, laughing. With your powers now, needless to mention the quiet cloud land, even if it's the divine great land, you can always get there at ease. Yeah, we don't need to bring many hotshots. We just need some beasts to carry more people. Yes. Yang Tian Emperor set his order. Soon, 100 Shura Blood Guard were ready to deploy from the Immortal Island. After bidding farewell to the Yang family, Shur Yen didn't linger, riding the Ghost Hunter, which was in its beast form now, heading to the quiet cloud. On the way, he passed across the Yuan Luo Sea. As Tang Yuanen knew, he wanted to go to the quiet cloud land to pick up his family. He didn't say extra words, but assigned the Star God Guard he had appointed to ride the giant horned lion vultures of the Three Gods sect to go to the quiet clouds with him. Shur Yen wanted to deny, but Tang Yuan-nan was persistent. He couldn't deny the other's good deed, just nodded. Thus he took 100 Shura Blood Guards and 80 Star God Guards, riding on the giant horned lion vultures, to the quiet cloud land. On their way, warriors of the forces in Endless Sea came to him as they heard the news. Seeing him riding the Ghost Hunter leading the formation, many leaders approached him to talk and ask if he needed help. Even Yang Tian Emperor that year couldn't have this offer when he went out. In Endless Sea, no one had ever made all of the forces bow to him. Sure, Yen made it with his young age. The cyan blood bat and the giant horn lion vulture were the level 5 or 6 beasts. His Shura blood guards and the Star God guards also had the exquisite cultivation, or at least Earth realm and Nirvana realm. Besides the guards, Dishan, Yu Ro, Yi Tianmo, Kaba, and Yimeng, the 5 great warriors of the Demonic Sound clan and the Wings clan also went with him, plus the War Devil, the kings of demonic insects, the devouring gold silkworm, and the Holy Spirit God inside the white bone clone. This was such a powerful force that could be compared to any force of the Endless Sea. Even the Chao family hardly resisted them. Thus, when they passed by the Chao family, the Chaos was so tense and nervous as they thought that he wanted to eradicate the Chaos. They had put forth all of their defenses as if a great enemy was about to hit them. They could only breathe out in relief when Shur Yen and his men crossed over their sea territory. On a summit of a mountain covered with strange stones, a beautiful woman lifted her face, looking at the young man and his delegation, fixing her pretty eyes on him. Deep regret appeared on her exquisite face. Half a day later, she muttered, "In my whole life, the thing I regret the most is to give up to you." Chapter 490, Visit the Old Place. Chapter 490, Visit the Old Place. Blue sky hung above the vast, shoreless ocean. Wind breezed in the clear, boundless sky. Above the sea, the cyan blood bats and the great horned lion vulture were flying fast. Shur Yen sat neatly on the Ghost Hunter, holding the immortal cannon, reading with furrowed brows. The immortal cannon described the most effective features of the immortal martial spirit and all mysterious, subtle effects of the immortal blood. After reading the immortal canon, he knew some ways to use the immortal blood. Turns out the immortal blood could restore the damaged secret treasures as new. It could even help the demonic beasts thrive greatly. Besides, the immortal blood could predict the future of low realm warriors. Using the immortal blood and the immortal rebirth secrets, he could see the current and past of the warrior he knew. He even could vaguely know that one's life trajectory in future. Of course, it was limited. He could only perform the technique on warriors whose realms much lower than his. With Shur Yan's current sky realm cultivation base, if he used the immortal blood, he could see the status of the warriors at lower than the earth realm. However, it was more complicated to get the situation of the Nirvana warriors. If it was a warrior at his level, he couldn't use the immortal blood to investigate that one's past and present. Beside predicting things, the immortal blood still had another magical effect. With immortal blood in his body, he could cultivate the immortal rebirth secrets. After he had mastered the secrets, later on, when engaging in battle, if his limbs got cut off, he could use the immortal rebirth secrets to grow his cut limbs back. To cultivate the immortal martial spirit to the peak, he had to know how to use the immortal blood. According to the writing in the immortal canon, at the peak realm of the immortal martial spirit, he had to change his blood, flooding the veins with the immortal blood. Using the immortal blood to replace his own blood could bring his immortal martial spirit to the peak. At this stage, he would be complete immortal. Even if his flesh body was exploded, he could still come back to life. When Yang Tian Emperor had been confined by the two demon kings, he had been trained and refined by their magic formation. Later on, thanks to the immortal blood, he could recover fully. If Bo Sun and Qi Yan had the immortal martial spirit on the Sun Island, even if their bodies were smashed, they could have come back to life with the immortal martial spirit, using the immortal blood to grow a new flesh body, which wasn't much different from their original bodies. This was the most miracle effect of the immortal blood. Riding on the ghost hunter, studying the immortal canon for days, he had a deep understanding of the ingenious features of immortal martial spirit and his immortal blood. Eventually, he knew why the Yang family could tower the endless sea for so many years. As long as the Yangs had the immortal martial spirit, with its aid, they would be super strong in fighting. Even their bodies got hurt severely, they could always restore their health and tremendous competencies shortly. In fighting with people who had the immortal martial spirit, unless you could kill them curtly, once they could lengthen the time, you would fall into the extremely disadvantageous situation. All sorts of magical, exquisite features of the immortal blood and the immortal martial spirit were written in the immortal canon. After 1 month studying, Shi Yan had memorized all secrets of the canon. Now he was quietly cultivating the most mysterious secret of the immortal canon, the immortal rebirth secret. Several days later, when he had a deep understanding of the immortal rebirth secret, he stashed the immortal canon away, closed his eyes, and meditating on the ghost hunter. Time flew fast. It was as short as a blink of an eye. They had left the endless sea and appeared in the sky of the quiet cloudland. Shi Yan opened his eyes, looking at the vibrant forest of the general direction of the Merchant Union, couldn't help but smile. The Shi family is there. As he was thinking about Shi Jian and Shi Tai, a joyful smile appeared on his face. Master. Dishan and Yu Ro came forward, calling from 5 meters away from him. Shi Yan was surprised, looking suspiciously at the two, frowning. What's up? We want to go with you to the divine great land. The Wings clans and the demonic sound clans' homelands there. Dishan slightly cocked his head. Our homeland has many secret techniques and strange treasures, which have been lost for generations. We would like to see if we can take back what belongs to us. Don't rush, Shi Yan mused, then said coldly. The divine great lands, much complicated than you've pictured. Warriors there are much stronger than the endless seas warrior. I come there, but I won't dare to do any rash actions. I know you are uneasy. Anyway, I think you should stay in the endless sea for a while. It's temporary. After I got used to the situation of the divine great land, I'll send someone to reach out to you. Dishan and Yu Ro just nodded listening to him, and they didn't say anything else. Yeah, we're about to reach the Merchant Union. You guys go prepare. We're landing on Sky Meteor City shortly. Thinking for a while, Shi Yan added, Remember, don't do anything wild in the city. Follow me. Do not act rashly. Got it. You guys too. The Merchant Union now belongs to the Shi family. Don't stir things here up. Shi Yan turned around, looking at the Shura blood guards and the Star God guards, giving them a curt shout. His Shura blood guards and Star God guards regarded him loudly with serious complexion. Many Shura blood guards and star god guards had him like a superstar in their eyes, making him their idol. Shi Yan's name was famous, spreading out all over the Endless Sea. He was now even more well-known than Yang Tian Emperor Cha Qiu Dao and Yang Yi Tian. He had become the newest Nova that no one could oppress his halo. Being led by a character like that, the guards were both excited and proud. Cyan blood bats and the giant horned lion vultures were fast. Not long after they had entered the airspace of the Quiet Cloud, they arrived at the Merchant Union, flying over the cities of the territory. What? Shi Yan screamed in surprise, observing the ground, his face strange. Among many cities beneath them, which belonged to the Merchant Union, as he focused on watching, he didn't see the flags of the Zhuo family and the Shi family. Quite the contrary, he saw many signs of the forces of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire. Those cities were packed with warriors of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire. No one knew what wild schemes they had. Sure, Yan released his soul consciousness. After passing through a city, his eyebrows slammed together. The Earth Realm, Disaster Realm warriors of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire gathered in each city, just like they were the masters of the city. However, it seemed no member of the Shi family and the Zhuo family appeared there. It seems something's happened to the Merchant Union. Shi Yan's face gradually darkened. Initially, in the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, Zhuo and Qi Shao had told him about the signs of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire having a conspiracy on the Merchant Union, attempting to divide the place. Perhaps their words had come true. Since the time he had drawn Shao Han Yi's power to clean the Baiming family, the Mo family, and the Ling family in the Merchant Union, even though the Merchant Union then belonged to the Shi family and the Zhuo family, its overall force wasn't as strong as it used to be. And that's how the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire saw their chance. They constantly sent their messengers to force the Shi family and the Zhuo family to submit to them and became their dependencies. Of course, Shi Jian and Zhuo weren't happy. They tried to lengthen the time without saying yes. Thus, the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire weren't satisfied. From politeness, they gradually turned to forcing step by step. Currently, it seemed they started to take action. The Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire had some sky realm warriors to guard the places. The Shi family and the Zhuo family could never resist their forces. If Qi Shao weren't in the Merchant Union, the two empires would have soon taken action on them. Thoughts popped up continually in his head. Shi Yan's eyes got colder. A mocking smile hung on the corner of his mouth. If it were him that year, facing the great force of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire, he could have been helpless watching the Merchant Union being invaded meter by meter. However, 10 years after he had entered the Endless Sea, he had reached the Sky Realm, and he had the powers that sent shivers down the Endless Sea's warriors' spines. Both of the empires had no spirit realm warrior. In his eyes, they were just a pack of lamb waiting for his slaughter. If he wanted, he just needed 3 days to destroy the two empires. This was the absolute confidence that the intimidating power brought him. Speed up! Sure, Yan mused for a while, then shouted. He didn't know the situation of the Merchant Union. From what he observed from the cities around, the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire were tyrannical. Perhaps they had entered the Sky Meteor City, which was dangerous to the Shi family. Since he had entered this world, people from the Shi family did care about his well-being. Shi Jian had a cold face, but his heart warm. He had personally urged Shi Yan every day, keeping track of his cultivation, giving him the martial technique of the Shirs. He had been wholeheartedly dedicated to Shi Yan. And Yang Hai, Shi Yan's father by the name, was also in the Shi family. After he shouted, he patted the ghost hunter by its neck. The ghost hunter shot out like an arrow, using its lightning speed, drawing a black light curve in the air and flying toward the Sky Meteor City. Swoosh! The ghost hunter covered in thorns appeared in the sky of the Sky Meteor City. A formidable, intimidating pressure covered the whole Sky Meteor City. Shi Yan's soul consciousness expanded to every corner of the city. He closed his eyes and sensed. Shi Yan exhaled in relief. People of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire hadn't entered the city yet, which meant the Shi family and the Zhuo family were still safe and sound. As long as all were all right at this time with his presence, there was no force could threat the Shi family and the Zhuo family in the quiet cloud land. Roar! The ghost hunter howled, echoing the whole city. All warriors of the Sky Meteor City were shaken. Some low-realm warriors got their chi disorderly, couldn't calm their minds down to restore their chi. What a dangerous beast! So scary. Who's coming anyway? The warriors of the Sky Meteor City screamed in fear, looking up at the sky with panic-stricken faces. Is that the hotshot the God-blessed Empire and the Raging Fire Empire has invited to here? We're doomed. We're dead soon. Many warriors who knew the general situation of the Sky Meteor City were desperately sorrowful. The ghost hunter slowly flew in the general direction of the Shi family. Chapter 491. Sweep away. Chapter 491. Sweep away. Everything stayed the same in the Shi family and nothing was changed. Even though it was the strongest force in the Sky Meteor City, the Shi family maintained their original simplicity. They didn't build any luxurious buildings or gardens on a grand scale to please their eyes. Slowly descending on the courtyard of the Shi family, Shi Yan frowned while watching here and there. He found that the number of the Shi family members here was bigger than what he had imagined. Young Master Yan. The familiar voice came out from a corner. They then saw an overjoyed man rushing out. Hanzhong. This man used to be Shi Yan's buddy. However, after 10 years of arduous cultivation, he still stayed at the Disaster Realm and didn't make any step further. Long time no see. Shi Yan smiled. Seeing someone familiar indeed made him joyful. Hey dude, you have no progress at all. Why are you still at the Disaster Realm? Haven't you wasted these 10 years? I'm not a freak like you, buddy. Hanzhong was cheerful, looking at the Shura Blood Guards and the Star God Guards following Shi Yan. His smile widened. I didn't expect that you would come back at this moment. It's good then. Yi Meng, Di Shan, and Yu Rou landed with their beasts, observing the small manor. They were surprised in thinking that this house was the fortunate land that their master was born in. Many warriors of the Shi family saw so many strange people coming, and were surprised, walking out from their cultivating places to see. Members of the Shi family who used to meet Shi Yan before couldn't hide their amazed faces, dashing towards the group. Shi Dang, Shi Tianling, and Shi Tianluo couldn't press down their surprise, shrieking in extreme joy. Where's my grandpa? Shi Yan frowned. As he didn't see Shi Jian and Shi Tai, he couldn't hide his worry. They went to the Zhuos. I think they should be back soon. Shi Dang took a step forward while his eyes brightened. All of a sudden he cried, What realm are you at now? Sky Realm. What? The Shi family members screamed in awe, their faces shaken. 10 years ago, when Shi Yan left the Sky Meteor City, he was only at the Disaster Realm. This time when he came back, he had the Sky Realm cultivation base. Such a progress was something no one dared to picture. How is the situation here? Shi Yan asked while frowning. When I flew across the adjacent cities, I saw a lot of warriors of the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire. Have they entered the Merchant Union? They have. Shi Dang beamed a forced smile and then sighed. After the Baiming family, the Mo family, and the Ling family were uprooted, the general competence of the Merchant Union hasn't been as strong as before. We can't resist the Raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire. These two empires are like tigers watching their prey. They want to take our merchant union, explained Sherdang. It wasn't much different from what Shi Yan had guessed. The two empires had tightened their clamp. In the beginning, they had watched over each other as they were afraid that if they took action, they would force the merchant union to find another place for shelter. That's why they were treating them tenderly. However, after the two empires had received denial many times from the Shi family and the Zhou family, the Raging Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire gradually lost their patience. Under the trigger from the mediator of the Medicine Valley, the Raging Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire worked together, preparing to split the Merchant Union, making it the battlefield where they would find out who was the ultimate winner. When the Raging Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire joined hands, it meant the Merchant Union's fate was decided. The Merchant Union's overall competence wasn't able to deal with any force. At the moment, it was under the clamp of two forces from two sides. In addition, many small forces of the Merchant Union started to rebel. They surrendered to these two empires, which put the Shi family and the Zhou family into isolation. The two great empires didn't take action yet, as they were using the tactic of invading the Merchant Union step by step. They would put their hands on the surrounding cities first. Then, they would push over to force the Merchant Union. That's how they could take the Merchant Union without destroying it. The Medicine Valley works as a mediator. Shi Yan snorted coldly while his eyes darkened. Oh, right, now that I am here, we can have a chance to uproot the rebellious small forces. Shi Yan, this time you come here. I want to bring you to the Endless Sea. The whole situation there is settled now. You don't need to worry about anything when you come there. I've arranged everything well. Shi Yan smiled and explained to them. The Endless Sea's a better place for you to cultivate. The warriors there have richer cultivating materials, much more than the Quiet Cloud. They have more hotshots with amazing martial techniques. They're one grade higher than the Quiet Cloud. The Shi family had their eyes brightened and their faces excited. The Endless Sea, muttered Sherdang. His mouth opened in a joyful smile. First, I'll help you guys deal with these troubles. Waving his hand, Shi Yan signaled Dishan and the others to come forward. Dishan, Yumeng, you guys take the Shura Blood Guards and the Star God Guards to the Raging Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire. Kill all the warriors whose cultivation bases are higher than the Nirvana realm. Oh, yeah. Remember to visit the Medicine Valley too. Yes. Dishan and Yimeng bent their bodies, answering him. The Shura Blood Guards and the Star God Guards also regarded Shi Yan upon his order. Then Dishan and Yuro took the Shura Blood Guards, while Yimeng and Kaba went with the Star God Guards. They both rode the beasts, and after they had adjusted the formation, they waited for Shi Yan's order. If there are Nirvana realm warriors in the adjacent cities, kill them all. Shi Yan mused and then said, Don't mind the warriors lower than Nirvana realm. The bosses are the ones who have the highest realms. Just kill them. Now go. Dishan and the others put on serious expressions, then nodded to show that they understood. In just a blink, Shura Blood Guard and the Star God Guards disappeared. Sherdang, Shi Tianling, and Han Zhong dropped their jaws, their eyes wide opened. Shi Yan, the Raging Fire Empire, and the God-Blessed Empire have the third sky of sky realm warriors. Sherdang's face was complicated. Are we taking risks? Third sky of sky realm warriors. Shi Yan just smiled, shaking his head. Don't worry. Warriors at this realm can't even defend themselves in front of our force. What realm those people have? Sherdang was surprised, his whole body shaken. Spirit realm. Shi Yan curled his lips. 5 spirit realm warriors taking action at the same time. No need to mention the Raging Fire Empire and the God-Blessed Empire. Even if they are in the Endless Sea, how many forces could resist them? People of the Shi family was dumbfounded, looking at him like they were looking at a monster. It was just 10 years. Not only had Shi Yan reached the Sky Realm, he also could invite the 5 Spirit Realm warriors to come with him. From their attitude towards him, it seemed like he was the boss here, having the absolute power over those 5 people. It was so strange that the Shi family's members couldn't even think it through. Shi Yan smiled, but didn't attempt to explain to them. At this moment, no warrior of the Quiet Cloud could compare to him. The strong warriors who, in their eyes, they could never reach, were so fragile to him that he could smash them at any minute. Since the gap between their realms was too wide, communicating was actually a problem. If he told them that he could change the wind and stir the rain in the endless sea, making the warriors on the sea and on the seabed bow to respect him, he didn't know how they would think about him. Big difference indeed. You guys should prepare. After we're done, we'll be getting back to the endless sea together. Musing for a while, he then spoke up to Shi Dang. There's nothing to linger or regret in the God-blessed empire. Wait until you come to Endless Sea. You'll soon find what the Merchant Union has. The Endless Sea has the same. Things that the Merchant Union doesn't have, Endless Sea has them all. Yeah, I've prepared the cultivating materials for you guys. Don't worry about that. After we get there, you'll have everything you need. Shi Dang didn't know what to say. Huh. Loud laughter came from afar along with a group of warriors. Stinky boy, it's just been 10 years, and we can't even recognize you. Shi Jian, Shi Tai, Zhuo Su, Zhuo Shi, Yang Hai, and the others emerged. Shi Jian was laughing cheerily while shouting, Brothers Hua, you're right. This kid's changed too much. As I saw the beasts pack the sky, I knew that this kid Shi Yan was back. Besides him, who could make such noisy moves? Zhuo Su smiled. I knew he won't forget us, and that he will come for us. Ha! Grandfather! Shi Yan revealed real joy, went forward while slightly bending his body to greet them. Then he shifted his eyes to Yang Hai. Father, this time I come back with the hope to bring you guys to the Endless Sea. We shouldn't stay in the Quiet Cloud any longer. He explained his plan again. Good. Shi Jian replied him briefly. Since brothers would told us about the rich world out there, we've prepared for our departure to the Endless Sea one day. We've been fully prepared since half a year ago. Even if you didn't come, after a while we would have moved. If you had gone there half a year ago, entering the Endless Sea would have been risky and troublesome. Shi Yan smiled. However, it's no problem now. The situation of the Endless Sea is steadied. Come with me. I'll have everything arranged sufficiently. As we're well prepared, we don't need to worry anymore. Is it true? Really? Even the cultivating materials are collected? Arg. At present, the things I don't lack the most are the medicines, pellets, ores, or crystals to cultivate. It's true that I have everything you guys may need. The others all wore a disbelieving face. Don't worry. After you get there, you'll see that I'm not lying. Things you can think about, I can always provide. Actually, you can trash away the things you have here. They aren't valuable. They didn't know what to say. Chapter 492, Proper Arrangement. Chapter 492, Proper Arrangement. The raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire were swept away. Dishan, Yuro, Etianimo, Yimeng, and Kaba were 5 Spirit Realm warriors, who could withstand them in the Quiet Cloud. Within 5 days, the hotshots of the raging Fire Empire and the God-blessed Empire were terminated. They had no Nirvana, Realm warriors, left now. Under the absolute power, these empires showed that how weak and fragile they were. A strong warrior himself alone could burn down many empires into ashes, and their name would disappear from the map forever. This slaughter made all the warriors of the Quiet Cloud know what was the consequence of going against the Shi family. The Quiet Cloud now had no force that dared to fight with the Shi family. Although the Shi family had left for the Endless Sea, Their fame had been spread through the entire quiet cloud because of Shi Yan. Under the Shi family's arrangement, the Shi family and the Zhuo family didn't linger in the Sky Meteor City, gathering their members and leaving the quiet cloud together with Shi Yan, heading towards the endless sea. During their journey, Shi Yan had refined some secret treasures and given them to his relatives, in the hope that they could help the Shi family improve their strength. After he had been imparted with the memories of an excellent blacksmith, he would fabricate some toys whenever he had time. In the endless sea, he had asked for the cultivating materials from the other forces, so there were enough of them for him to waste as much as he pleased. This huge amount of materials had become his consumable goods, becoming the solid supply for his refining. Members of the Shi family were so joyful they even went crazy when they received the treasures. No one had expected that after just 10 years, Shi Yan had reached the sky realm and had even become a blacksmith. They were so surprised that they didn't know what method he had used to progress that fast during these 10 years. After 2 months, Shi Yan and his relatives arrived at the Tuda Sea. He didn't hurry to reach the immortal island. Shi Yan visited the corpse god sect in Tuda Sea, found the 2 king corpses, and gave them 4 drops of his immortal blood to help them evolve faster. After he had formed a good friendship with the king corpses, he recognized that the king corpses had always treated him with care. King corpses were different from mankind. If they trusted someone, they would treat them the best and never plan any wild schemes against their friends. Shi Yan was happy realizing this. The immortal blood had a miraculous effect on demonic beasts and living beings with flesh entity. After the king corpses had taken in the 2 drops of immortal blood, they vaguely had a blood connection with Shi Yan. They then treated him even closer and better, just like a family member. As he was about to leave the endless sea, he hoped that he could arrange things in the endless sea properly. The king corpses had earth-shaking powers. They would become the intimidating existence in the sea area. If he had the warm support from them, even if he weren't in the endless sea, the Yang family would stand still Mount Taishan. No force could threaten them. After spending a couple of days at the corpse god sect, he departed again to the immortal island. He stopped at another stop in the Yuan Luo Sea. On the Moon Island, Tang Yuan Nan and Ouyang Luoshang received him grandly. All the elders of the 3 god sect were present, as everybody wore a respectful face, as they considered him their star god. "I return the star god guards to you," Shi Yan smiled. "I want to leave the endless sea and visit the divine great land. I have something I want to make clear to you guys." Tang Yuan Nan and Ouyang Luoshang showed that they were paying the utmost attention. "I've been to the dark, magnetic, noxious mist and got to know an old faction of the divine great land." Shi Yan mused, then shared the current situation. The Radiant God cult's one of the 7 old factions of the divine great land. They have a 10,000-year history. The Radiant God cult also has the sun, moon, and star gods. They have the flame sun martial spirit, the silver moon martial spirit, and the star god martial spirit. Their understanding of these martial spirits is much deeper than yours. There are true god realm warriors in this ancient faction. There's a delicate relationship between the 3 gods sect and them. I assumed that the ancestors of the 3 gods sect came from the Radiant God cult of the divine great land. He shared them the information he knew about the Radiant God cult and the 3 god sect. I can assure that the Radiant God cult in the divine great land is the origin of the 3 god sect. This time, I will go to the divine great land. If nothing is unexpected, I'll visit the Radiant God cult. Shi Yan's countenance was calm. "If you have something you want to talk to the Radiant God cult, and you don't mind, just tell me. I'll deliver your message. Of course, you can go to the Radiant God cult yourself. I think they would host you guys with joy. Your realms aren't low. I think you could have a good position if you go there." The spirit realm warriors were considered the hotshots in the divine great land too. If these 2 went to the divine great land and visited the Radiant God cult, warriors there would receive them with joy, as they would have more powers to support their cult. Of course, they wouldn't deny. However, at that time, Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshang wouldn't have the freedom they had now. In the Endless Sea, these two were the masters of the three-god sect, so they could do whatever they wanted and arrange the three-god sect as they pleased. They didn't need to watch people's faces to act. However, once they joined the Radiant God cult, they wouldn't have such freedom. At that time, perhaps they would become the elders of the Radiant God cult, but they would be under the command of the Radiant God cult's cult master. Moreover, the stronger elders there could always assign them to do tasks. The battles in the divine Great Land were much fiercer than in the Endless Sea. If the Radiant God cult's people arranged them to fight against strong enemies, they could even lose their lives. But there were also immense benefits. When they joined the Radiant God cult, they could have the cultivating materials related to their martial spirits. This could help them shorten the time needed to break through. If they could thrive well there, perhaps they could have the superior position, which would give them bigger powers than what they had in the Endless Sea. There were pros and cons for them to consider definitely. After he had finished, Ouyang Luoshang and Tang Yuan-nan pondered, but didn't hurry to show their opinions. Shi Yin didn't want them to make up their minds immediately, so he didn't urge them. Afterward, Tang Yuan-nan took a deep breath. We need to think more carefully whether or not to go to the divine Great Land. In the case we don't have enough power but hurry to get there, it won't be a wise decision. Yeah, we need time to consider it. It's up to you, Shi Yin nodded. Suddenly, he blinked at Tang Yuan-nan, signaling him to send the other elders away. Tang Yuan-nan followed him. In just a flash, people gathering in the three-god sect disappeared, leaving only Shi Yin, Tang Yuan-nan, and Ouyang Luoshang. These are 2 drops of the life original fluid. I hope it could help you somehow. Take them. Shi Yin took out 2 special drops, handing them to Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshang respectively. I know you found it strange why Yin Hui and Nu Lang of the Sea tribes respect me a lot. The life original fluid is the answer. Thump thump. Heartbeat arose from the 2 drops of the life original fluid, which surprised Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshang. The life original fluid is extremely precious to the 3rd sky of spirit realm warriors. It could increase the chance to break through the true God realm and ease a lot of barriers. Sure, Yin told them the effects of the life original fluid. Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshang had their eyes brightened and couldn't hide their astonishment. Too precious! Tang Yuan-nan trembled, rubbing his hands embarrassedly. How we can take it? We didn't help you much. No need to help me, as long as you show your good friendship. Shi Yin smiled. Take it. This stuff will be crucial for your cultivation in the future. I do hope that you guys would enter the true God realm one day. I just hope that you would remember my favor today at that time. Tang Yuan-nan and Ouyang Luoshang nodded solemnly, taking the life original fluid. Although they didn't say anything, their visages told him many things. Yeah, I have a final request. Shi Yin smiled, looking at the moon god Ouyang Luoshang, and said shyly, since I was in the Sky Meteor City, you've been covered in the moonlight. I have never seen your real appearance. I regret that. Can I have a look at your true self now? Ouyang Luoshang's tender body shivered tenderly. Under the haze moonlight, her eyes seemed bright. Cough, I have some stuff to do. Tang Yuan-nan was tactful, leaving an awkwardness. When there were only the 2 of them, Moon God asked, Why are you curious about my appearance? The clear but cold voice came from the mouth of the beautiful figure. I'm just curious. No other reason. All right. The moonlight gradually ceased. The peerless beauty that could make all living creatures fall slowly revealed from the haze. She was like a translucent crystal jade, like the moonlight that had been refined for thousands of years, dreamy and imaginary like a fairy or a charming devil. Her beauty shook and moved all hearts. Shi Yan was stunned like a wooden rooster. That face could only appear in dreams by chance, hard to describe in mere words. So exquisite, fine to the acme. You should reveal your true face sometimes. A while later he sighed slightly. I'm afraid that very few men in this world would not be moved by your appearance. This is earth-shaking and really rare in this world. Today, my vision has indeed been widened. Am I that pretty? Moon God curled her lips, beaming a strange smile. Guys like you are also astounded because of me. Of course, of course. Shi Yan nodded his head continually. I think all men in this world would be jealous to death of the man who has you. No man's good. Harumph. Moon God snorted, her face disdainful. Shi Yan shut his mouth and beamed a forced smile. If a guy's bad having the desire for beauty, I think all men in this world are bad guys. Have you watched enough? Moon God stiffened her face. The moonlight covered her fully once again. She spoke up with a cold attitude. If you're done, go away. Perhaps we'll meet up again in the divine great land. I hope you would truly have the spirit realm cultivation base instead of borrowing external forces at that time. I can tell you that I'll enter the second sky of spirit realm in the next half year. I expect that you, the star god, won't be lazy. Don't fail the star martial spirit in you. Shi Yan was dumbstruck. Chapter 493. Pay the favor with the body. Chapter 493. Pay the favor with the body, eh? Shi Yan wore a bewildered face while walking to Tang Yuan Nan's reef, beaming a forced smile while shaking his head. He vaguely felt that the moon god Ouyang Luo Shang wasn't close to him, and she seemed to disdain him too. This made him suspicious of what she had to be arrogant. It was true that this woman's realm was high, but it was actually because of her absorption of the moonlight during her 1,000 years of being sealed. It was okay if she didn't appreciate him for giving her the drop of the life original fluid. However, getting scolded for watching her face made Shi Yan indignant. He then regretted his generous deed. How is it? Tang Yuan Nan smiled wickedly. Aren't you disappointed? Well, not bad. A world treasure, but her attitude is stinky. Shi Yan forced a smile. She scolded me for nothing. Does she have any mental problems? She thought that you've been using external forces, which is not good for your cultivation base in the future. In her eyes, only the powers of your own are eternal. If you depend on the others every time you fight, you'll be dependent, and this will hold back your cultivating progress. Tang Yuan Nan smiled and explained. She just wants the best for you. Perhaps she thought that your cultivating speed's too fast, and your foundation isn't stable. This would trouble your cultivation in the future. Although she's more than 1,000 years old, she's still a juvenile little girl. She doesn't know how to hide her feelings. You shouldn't blame her. Shi Yan still felt angry. It's my stuff. Why does she need to poke her nose in? The star martial spirit on your body came from Ouyang Ji, her elder. This is what we call love the house and its crow. Is that love the house and its crow? Shi Yan burst out laughing, then shook his head begrudgingly. Forget it. I don't mind her. I gotta go now. Later on, if the Yangs meet trouble in endless sea, please give me face and aid them. With Yan Tian Emperor there, they don't need my help. You shouldn't be worried about insignificant matters, smiled Tang Yuan Nan. Human affairs are variable. Although the Yang family can make the endless sea be afraid of it, it doesn't mean it would last forever. Anyway, it's good if you remember my favor. Wait. Tang Yuan then stopped him. What else? Someone has been waiting for you for too long here. Do you want to meet that person? Shi Yan's face was suspicious. Then he asked with astonishment, Who's waiting for me? The holy maiden Chu Yanqing from the Heaven Lake, Holy Land. Half a month ago, she came here, found me, and asked me to introduce her to you. It seems she knew that you would pass by the Three God sect on your way back. Perhaps it's because of the Star God guards you brought. This woman's mysterious, though. Tang Yuan Nan mused for a while and then said, previously, she had sent me the news that you'd killed Zhou Yufeng, Situ Jie, and Zhong Li down on the seabed. She said that you would return to the endless sea soon. I felt strange, too. I don't know why she wanted to hide the matter from Wu Qin and tell us the information related to you. Shi Yan was surprised. It's hard to guess women's mind. If you don't want to see her, you can leave now. I'll talk to her. Where is she? In the small island in the south of the Moon Island. That place is secluded, without any guards. She's been there for half a month, didn't go out even once. I'll go and check. Shi Yan's heart filled with doubt while he said farewell to Tang Yuan Nan and flew towards the south of the Moon Island. He found that small manor in a bamboo jungle near the shore. A charming, tender figure appeared behind the window of a 5-level bamboo house. Strange light flashed in her eyes as she was scrutinizing Shi Yan. The man frowned, getting in the room through the window. He threw the woman a glance and then said coldly, "What do you want to talk to me?" Squeak. Chu Yanqing closed the door after Shi Yan had entered the room. She took off the mask on her face, revealing the face that could shake all living creatures. Smiling mildly, the holy maiden of the Heaven Lake, Holy Land, said softly, "I hope you could take me with you." "Take you with me." Shi Yan arched his brow, cracking an eccentric smile. "How do you know I'm about to leave?" "I've heard that you've been to the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, and now you want to come to the divine great land. This isn't secret information, though. What's so strange to know this?" Chu Yanqing's smile was like warm sunlight as she was leaning against the window. "I want to see the marvel of the divine great land. But I don't dare to cross the dark, magnetic, noxious mist. I hope you could lead the way. You don't want to be the holy maiden of the Heaven Lake, Holy Land anymore? Why do you want to go to the divine great land? The Heaven Lake, Holy Land is nothing compared to you." Chu Yanqing's red lips trembled as a strange expression flashed on her face. "It's just been a few years. When we were chasing after you in the chasm battlefield, you didn't even have the Nirvana Realm cultivation base. But now, you've reached the second sky of Sky Realm. You even have an intimidating support. You have steadied the whole endless sea, and even my master has to consider his words when talking about you. He's afraid that you would come to the Heaven Lake, Holy Land, and kill us all one day. People who went against you that year are living in fear day after day, like they're sleeping on pins and needles, worrying that you would find them and take revenge." I said, "I let it go, so I won't revert back on my words." Shi Yan snorted and then shouted, "Do you think that everybody would be like your master regarding the agreement **T, and that he could change it at any time as he pleases?" "Of course you aren't." Chu Yanqing smiled. "That's why I come to you." "What do you want after all?" "I want a pursuit, stronger power. I want to see the divine great land and seek more knowledge. But the best thing is that I want to be your woman. Even being a concubine is okay." Her beautiful eyes were bright and hot, sparkling with a brilliance that mesmerized people. She was looking at him daringly. Shi Yan was shaken, his face disbelieving. "Are you crazy?" "I'm not." Chu Yanqing took a deep breath, raising her milky white, ample bosom. "In the abandoned place, you did many dirty things. You touched me, and it was the same the time you came back. You bullied me." The little beauty had her face blush, her voice fading out as she lowered her head. She didn't even dare to look at him in the eyes. "I didn't sleep with you." Shi Yan beamed a forced smile. "I just touched you a bit. Do you really need to pay back my favor with such a deed?" "You." The holy maiden suddenly lifted her head, rolling her eyes at him indignantly. Anyway, you did bad things to me. If you don't care about me, I will announce to everybody to destroy your reputation. I will ruin you and bring shame to you. Well, then do it. It's no harm to me. I think something trivial like this is just like a joke to amuse other people. You will be the one who bears the biggest loss. Shi Yan cracked a bizarre smile. Since she couldn't play hard, the beautiful woman switched to her soft skills. She turned into a breeze of aroma, jumping onto Shi Yan's lap, pressing her big breasts against his chest. Her red lips caressed his earlobe, whispering, "Am I not pretty? A beautiful woman like me jumps into your chest, but you aren't moved? I can promise you that as long as you want me, even if when you get married to Xia Xianyan, I won't regret it. I'm not bad, right? Even more tender than her." Wonderful fragrance permeated the air with the beauty in his chest. Shi Yan got his masculine reaction under the attack of that generous bosom. The beauty in his lap could feel that as she giggled. "Well, and you said you didn't like me. See? Just nod, I will let you." Her voice was so seducing, as she was ready for him to do whatever he wanted with her, as if she was pitiful that Shi Yan hadn't eaten her on the spot right now. Mother asterisk 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 asterisk. She delivers herself to me. Shi Yan's I became hot. He hesitated for a while and then gritted his teeth. He grabbed the holy maiden of the Heaven Lake Holy Land, put her against the wall of the bamboo building, and started his dirty deed with the woman. Chu Yanqing's beautiful eyes turned hazy, moaning softly as her supple body got hotter. "After I'm done with the stuff in the divine great land, I'll take you there." Shi Yan thrust his hands into her clothes, stroking her plentiful, creamy areas. "No." The little beauty wiggled, calmed herself, panted, and then said through gritted teeth, "Wait until you bring me to the divine great land. You'll have what you want from me. Now you'll take me there with you and I'll follow you. Or you'll take me there after you are done with the stuff at that place. It's your call. Otherwise, you will ask me to wait for you here and enjoy yourself there. Isn't it me waiting for you the whole life without a positive result?" At this hot moment, she was still practical enough to restrain the sexual desire and bargain with him. As she said so, Shi Yan's desire also decreased. He frowned and then said deliberately, "All right. You agree with me?" Chu Yanqing was surprised. "You want to take me to the divine great land with you?" "Yeah, but later. Save your body for me. I'll come for you later." Shi Yan raised the corner of his mouth, kissed her roughly, and then flew away. Chu Yanqing held a disappointed visage, her eyes glum. "How was it?" Tang Yuan smiled. "Nothing significant." Shi Yan wore an indifferent face. "Watch that woman after I leave. Yeah, don't let others kill her." "You got it." Tang Yuan, Nan said. "If she meets troubles, I will give you face by aiding her. Don't worry. Haha, it's good to be young and full of vitality. Well, I understand love, though. No wonder why that little girl betrayed Wu Qin and sent us your news. You've tamed her. Kid, you're experienced. Your style's just like mine that year." "I got it. Don't worry. I will take care of your woman." Tang Yuan Nan nodded continually, patting his chest to look more trustworthy. "All right, don't talk nonsense. We'll see each other again." After bidding farewell to Tang Yuan Nan, the delegation departed again. 10 days later, they arrived at the Immortal Island. 2 months later, after Shi Yan had arranged everything properly for the Shi family and the Zhou family, he impatiently continued his journey. Chapter 494, The Coldest Place. Chapter 494, The Coldest Place. 1 month later, Shi Yan entered the dark, magnetic, noxious mist again. Where no heaven and earth powers existed, and darkness covered the place year-round. He saw the familiar scenes and the unchanged magnetic field in the exotic land. Nothing in this place conformed to common sense. Islands and mountain ranges were floating in the air, moving slowly in certain trajectories. He'd been there once before, so he understood the situation. Thus, he didn't panic. After he had identified the correct direction, he flew towards the east of the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, with a speed that was neither fast nor slow. The war devil, the ghost hunter, and the Holy Spirit God in its white bone clone were dormant inside the blood vein ring, not having even a beam of vitality. The blood vein ring was truly a God-level secret treasure. The other storage rings could only contain dead things and stuff. Meanwhile, the blood vein ring was much different, as it could generate suitable land and precise space for living beings to survive inside. It was the same for the ice-cold flame, the earth flame, the war devil, and the ghost hunter. It seemed that the ring had some rule in defiance of natural order, or it understood well some kind of principle in heaven and earth. Up till now, Shi Yen hadn't explored all the mysterious features of the blood vein ring. Anyways, he knew that this ring was the biggest support and the most mysterious secret of the whole Grace mainland that he shouldn't let anyone else know about. While crossing through the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, he seriously studied the immortal rebirth secret, not caring about his meals or sleep and cultivating arduously. Whenever he met the bottleneck in his cultivation, he switched to refining secret treasures, seizing the chance to moderate his mind and spirit. With this method, he achieved big progress in cultivating the immortal rebirth secret. Also, he gained a good grasp over many fascinating formations for refining tools. After he got through the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, his understanding of the immortal rebirth secret had taken a big leap. Now he could use his immortal blood to see the past and the present of the Shi family. When he burned the immortal blood, he could see Shi Dang's face. However, he couldn't see Shi Dang's future using the immortal blood yet. Only if he mastered the immortal rebirth secret could he use the immortal blood to vaguely see some details about Shi Dang's future. Among the past, the present, and the future was the most unpredictable. When he reached a certain realm and a certain understanding of the immortal rebirth secret, he could do that. Spending half a year inside the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, he finally crossed the natural barrier between the endless sea and the divine great land, appearing above a deep blue sea area. Using the sun to identify the east, he continued flying. When he had departed from the endless sea, he made up his mind that unless he fell into a life-threatening situation, he would never borrow external forces. Although the external forces like the ice-cold flame, the Holy Spirit God, and the war devil could help him have the power much beyond the warriors at the same level, these forces didn't belong to him. If he got dependent on them, he would have a hard time achieving a big breakthrough in the future. What the moon god Ouyang Luoshang told him had irritated him, but he couldn't deny that those were precious words indeed. The cultivation of a warrior was a rough way without a shortcut. He needed to do everything himself. If he considered using the external forces as a natural tactic and always thought about borrowing them even when he hadn't met any deadly situation instead of using his own strength, he would gradually move towards his own decline. Then, it would eventually change his mentality, leading to his imposing will and daring spirit waning away. That's why he put the war devil, the Holy Spirit God, and the ghost hunter into the blood vein ring. He had decided that from now on, except for the cases of encountering a seriously deadly situation, he would never use them. After he had made up his mind, it seemed his confidence and will had returned to him. Later on, when he was cultivating, he found out the change of his characteristic, which was like a catalyst that could help him gain more during learning and comprehending powers. He landed after flying over the deep blue sea for half a month. It was a vast jungle without a visible boundary. Old trees jutted up, towering to the sky. It was like that year when he had descended in the gloomy, deep forest, which filled his vision completely with a green hue. The air here was fresh, and the essence chi was a little extraordinary. Crossing through this thick forest, he continued walking eastward. After another half-month, he reached a snowy mountain range. Snowflakes fluttered everywhere, and snow piled up at the summit of the mountain range. The place had an extremely low temperature that could make anyone shiver. This was a place of bitter cold. Looking at the snow-capped mountains and the unceasing, fluttering snowflakes, he knew where he was. The far east of the divine great land, the bitter cold land, a snow mountain region covered by snow year-round. This was the west area of the Ice Emperor City, one of the 7 cities of the Fighting Union in the divine great land. The back garden of the Ice Emperor City had so many beasts and spirit, herbs of ice class. All warriors of the Ice Emperor City considered this place their training court to whet their martial arts. The bitter cold land had nearly 100 snow mountains, hiding many ice-class cultivating materials. Only warriors of the Ice Emperor City dared to explore this place. As for other warriors of the divine great land, the cultivating materials of this place had little value to them. In the eyes of the old factions in the divine great land, the bitter cold land was worth its name. It wasn't a place suitable for warriors to cultivate, and didn't have treasures precious enough to catch the eyes of the other warriors. After crossing the bitter cold land, it was the Ice Emperor City, one of the 7 cities of the Fighting Union. This city was nearest to the dark magnetic noxious mist in the far west of the divine great land. This meant that when the dark magnetic noxious mist opened, this place could become more crowded. Usually, there weren't many warriors visiting the place. The Ice Emperor City, among the 7 cities of the Fighting Union, was the most rural area with poorest cultivating materials and weakest forces. There weren't many products here, or citizens, leading to a small number of innate warriors. Thoughts continually ran through his mind, while Shi Yan was calm and deliberate. He didn't fly over the bitter cold land directly and descended from the sky. The dark, magnetic noxious mist didn't have the powers from heaven and earth for him to borrow. Along the way, he had been concentrating on his arduous cultivation and refining, which drained a lot of power from him. Then he had flown with max speed after passing the dark magnetic noxious mist without a rest stop until he reached the bitter cold land. Currently, the profound chi in his body was consumed by 70%. He needed to recover his strength to maintain his best condition. Snow mountains followed one after another. He came to a snow mountain around 3,000 meters tall, dug a cave, and got in. He took out the crystals from his storage ring and closed his eyes, starting to cultivate. Time flew by. He opened his eyes, letting his soul consciousness sense his body. As he felt the profound chi fill his body, he smiled and got up to continue his journey through the snow mountain. With a second sky of Sky Realm cultivation base, at normal speed, it would take around 7 or 8 days to cross the bitter cold land. If he had used the support from the star brilliance or the electric shift to fly with the max speed, he could shorten the time to 3 or 4 days. However, if he did that, crossing the bitter cold land would cost him 70 to 80% of the profound chi. Getting out of the cave and looking at the fluttering snowflakes and the white mountain flanks, he took a deep breath of cold air before starting to move. All of a sudden, the ice-cold flame sent him a message from the blood vein ring. "This place is really cold. Let me out and check. Perhaps I can find something." A white flame flew out from the ring, shooting out of the cave. It was like a snow-white spirit, dragging snowflakes everywhere just like the flickering candlelight, which gave people a strange, demonic aesthetic. Boundless snow mountain ranges, extremely low temperature. Not bad, this place is a good place. The ice-cold flame seemed to use its own method to observe the area. It continually sent Shi Yan its thoughts. "It's snowing year-round here. Such a cold aura. Perhaps this place could have the cold chalcedony. Yeah, This sort of soil should be able to produce the cold chalcedony. Let's search for it. The ice-cold flame flew away, swaying in the shower of snowflakes like an ice flower. Shi Yan didn't disturb it, just standing and watching from his cave. Half a day later, the ice-cold flame came back from afar. The white flame seemed to be joyful. There should be the cold chalcedony. If I maintain my sensing, I can sense the cold chalcedony when I get close to it. It's beneficial to the Holy Spirit God. Every living being of the cold class desires the cold chalcedony a lot. What's it good for? There are no big and vast snow mountains like these in the quiet cloud or the endless sea. Snow here won't melt year-round. It should have many spirit herbs and treasures of cold class, which hardly grow in the quiet cloud or the endless sea. The cold chalcedony is the essence of the cold air in liquid form. Only the 10,000-year-old cold snow mountain could generate this precious substance. I can see the cold air's really heavy in this area. Perhaps it has a 10,000 years snow mountain somewhere. It should be the highest mount. That's why the cold air could spread through many other smaller snow mounts. The cold chalcedony is the essence of the snow mountain, a rare treasure of cold class. To cold class living beings like me, it's the fairy pellet. Eating the cold chalcedony and absorbing the cold air could help me evolve perhaps. My power will grow tremendously. The ice-cold flame was excited, sending Shi Yan its assumption. Okay, then we should keep an eye on it along the way. Maybe we can harvest something. Shi Yan smiled. As I promised you guys, as long as you find something that could help you evolve, I'll try my best to obtain it. The ice-cold flame jumped in joy. Let's go. Shi Yan took a breath of cold air, walking carefully in the void. The ice-cold flame turned into an ice flame flower, sitting on his shoulder. Along the way, it kept releasing its spiritual awareness to sense around. 2 days later, the ice-cold flame got excited all of a sudden. It didn't wait for Shi Yan's order, flying towards a 10,000-meter tall mountain. Chapter 495. Two Beautiful Sisters. Chapter 495. Two Beautiful Sisters. That snow mountain pierced the sky. At first glance, people could see the glistening glacier at the flank of the mountain. Cold brilliance dazzled the eyes, stirring people's minds with a cold feeling. The ice-cold flame seemed to have made some discovery, turning into a beam of light and got into the glacier directly, disappearing in a flash. Shi Yan knew this could be the coldest snow mountain the flame told him about, which could produce the cold chalcedony. Shi Yan flew to that snow mountain while releasing his soul consciousness to sense what was anomalous inside. Two not too feeble souls showed up behind the mountain. When his soul consciousness got near that area, these two souls reacted, rippling their soul consciousness like a gust of wind blowing on his soul consciousness, making it shiver. It seemed that their soul consciousness was one grade higher than his, as they could make his soul consciousness generate a cold feeling that affected his host soul, giving him shivers. But Shi Yan wasn't anxious. He retrieved his soul consciousness as his body was swift as an electric current, shooting towards the source of the two soul consciousness. The back of the snow mountain was a shaded area that had never been exposed to sunlight. Snow there was thick like layers of ice. Lying amidst the long snow block was a stream from where cold air emitted. The water there was extremely cold. Surrounding the stream was some sort of plants, around 30 centimeters tall and brilliant as a crystal. These plants looked roughly 200 years old with the same height. They fanned out, radiating light with a faint aroma. Standing in the middle of these plants were two bright-skinned girls wearing a snow-white fur coat. They looked like the two snowflakes in the snow mountain, looking at him with unfriendly complexions. These two girls were around 20 years old. Their looks and manners were pretty similar. They should be sisters. Cold air spread out from them. As their physique seemed to have cold attributes, they should be warriors of the Ice Emperor City. They had an extraordinary cultivation base at the third sky of Sky Realm. Who are you? Why do you come to the snow mountain of our Ice Emperor City? The older girl shouted coldly with her ice-cold voice. Are you here to steal the cold heartgrass? It's obvious. The other pretty pouted her lips, her face indignant. There's only this mountain in our Ice Emperor City that has more cold-class spirit herbs. People always want to steal them. I'm so sick of it. You aren't cultivating cold-class cultivation method. So why do you need the cold heartgrass? Well, it's obvious that you want to sell them, don't you? This pair of beautiful sisters had considered sure, Yen a thief right away. Their manners weren't good, and they had a cold voice. They seemed ready to take action. No, I just crossed this place by chance. I felt your aura, so I came to check. I have no other intention. Shi Yen smiled, relaxing his nerves. I've just crossed through the dark, magnetic, noxious mist to get here. I haven't met any warrior along the way. I was curious when I found you too. I don't want to steal your spirit herbs. Are you trying to fool us? The little beauty cracked a cold smile from the corner of her mouth, but she still looked naive. People came from the dark, magnetic, noxious mist had come back 2 years ago. The ones who didn't come back should have died inside the dark mist. It's been so long, and now you say that you walked out of that place. Liar. What do you want? The older beauty said with her cold face, This is the territory of the Ice Emperor City. Even people from the dark, magnetic, noxious mist have to notify us before they arrive. People from the dark, magnetic, noxious mist, I've met them all. However, I have no impression of you. Arg. I didn't come to the dark, magnetic, noxious mist from the Ice Emperor City. Shi Yen shook his head, talking deliberately. I've entered the dark, magnetic, noxious mist from the Endless Sea. Of course, you haven't met me before. The Endless Sea. The two sisters were surprised and shouted in awe, but he could see the trail of doubt in their eyes. The Ice Emperor City was in the far west of the divine Great Land, the bitter cold land, the other sea area, and the dark, magnetic, noxious mist separated it from the Endless Sea. The Ice Emperor City was a force of the divine Great Land, which was nearest to the Endless Sea. If these two sisters were the citizens of the Ice Emperor City, they should have heard about the Endless Sea. However, they had never heard that people of the Endless Sea could cross the extremely dangerous, dark, magnetic, noxious mist to enter the divine Great Land. It's true. I'm from the Endless Sea. Sure, Yen thought he didn't need to conceal anything. In your eyes, the Endless Sea is a barren place, and the warriors of the Endless Sea are barbarians, right? Everybody thinks so, the younger one nodded. Such a rural area can't have any strong warriors. Even the cultivating materials are poor, and the secret treasures are always in a shortage. Of course, you can't have any peak warrior. Well, isn't it true? She was talking naturally and interrogating Shi Yen. No matter how rural the area is, it can always have strong warriors. You could only say that the divine Great Land is much luckier with more strong warriors. Shi Yen frowned and explained to them patiently. He was waiting for the ice-cold flame before continuing his journey. Since he had nothing to do in the meanwhile, a little chit-chat with these two beautiful sisters brought no harm but help him to kill time. Are you from the Endless Sea? The little beauty eyed him. It seemed her curiosity was growing, just like she had just found an ape. Are there more warriors like you in the Endless Sea who have the Sky Realm cultivation base? Is your hometown very poor? Do people eat human meat there? I heard that the Endless Sea is so uncivilized that many people starve to death. The little girl spoke continually like she was singing and couldn't stop it. In her thoughts, the Endless Sea was a place of barbarians, and people there were living like the ancient times, uncivilized with so strange traditions beyond her comprehension. Shi Yan's face darkened. He finally knew how the people of the divine great land thought about other people from other places. These people were born with a feeling of superiority, as they always thought that they were the center of the Grace mainland. For them, people from outside were all barbarians, stupid and weak, with all sorts of eccentric traditions. Is it true? The little beauty stopped her questionnaire on seeing Shi Yan's countenance. She studied him with curiosity and then continued. No, it's not. So how is it? Same as you guys. Arg, I don't buy it. Up to you. You stink. An outsider like you who comes to our land should be honest. Don't let others teach you a lesson. Ha ha. All right, the older girl was obviously losing her patience. She interrupted them coldly, waving her hand like she was shooing insects away. Move. Don't linger here. You aren't allowed to stay near this tallest mountain. If we see you again, you won't be able to live comfortably. Shi Yan shrugged, his face faint. Goodbye. Then he left the place, flying to somewhere not far from there to find a quiet place and wait for the ice-cold flame. According to the ice-cold flame, the cold Chalcedony stayed hidden inside the freezing snow mountain, and even he couldn't enter that place. The cold ice flame had a special shape, along with its especially cold features. Shi Yan believed that if the cold Chalcedony did exist inside the coldest mountain, the ice-cold flame could take it with ease. Thus, he didn't need to join it or be anxious, just waiting for the flame like an outsider waiting for good news. Jie, do you believe him? After Shi Yan left, the little sister Bing Wei asked while plucking the cold heart grass with care. I don't care where he comes from as long as he doesn't affect our work here. Bing Chang frowned. Mei, we should be careful on the way back. I felt something wrong when we came here. Currently, there are some rumors in the city saying that some elder has a close relationship with the Heaven Temple. I'm afraid something bad would happen. I know who. Bing Wei snorted. Should be that woman. Previously, she had left the Ice Emperor, so she could visit the Heaven Temple. She always wanted to replace our adoptive mother to be the host of our city. Well, she's been consistent in her conspiracy for too long. I guess she couldn't hold it now. You are not allowed to say these words. Bing Chang rolled her eyes. Even our adoptive mother doesn't dare to say that. Don't babble. If she hears it, even our adoptive mother can't protect you. Remember, even if you are indignant, don't show it. No one's here. Why do you need to be so tense? Bing Wei didn't care. She wants to be the master of the city so much that she's crazy now. I didn't expect that she wanted to use the force of the Heaven Temple. That be asterisk TCH doesn't have any sense of honor indeed. Don't call her be asterisk TCH. No matter what, she's our senior. Bing Chang was begrudging. You little girl don't know how to keep your mouth shut. That's why you always cause grudges. If they didn't catch you because of your bad verbal behavior, we wouldn't need to be here to harvest this stupid cold heart grass. Jie, sorry. It's my bad you have to be here with me. Bing Wei cocked her head, feeling pitiful. We're sisters, don't say that. You should pay more attention. Bing Chang mused for a while. You are openly against her. With her habit of bearing grudges, she would trouble you more for sure. It's inconvenient for her to take action against you in the Ice Emperor City, but she knows we'll be there for these plants. I'm afraid she would send someone to attack us. Be careful, don't let her men attack us. Our adoptive mother's still in the city. Does she dare? She even wants to replace our mother. What else does she not dare? Sigh. Little girl, you're too naive. The city's complicated now. Our adoptive mother sent us here so that we can avoid the surging tide. Too bad we don't know who has disclosed that we'd be here. There should be her henchmen staying near our mother. What should we do? We can't do much. Protecting ourselves well will also be a help to her. Chapter 496, Retrieve. Chapter 496, Retrieve. In the world of ice and snow, Shi Yan was waiting for the ice-cold flame in silence. A long time passed after the pair of pretty sisters had collected enough cold heart grass and left. They were always careful, as if they were guarding against something. Shi Yan didn't pay much attention to their story. After 4 hours, the ice-cold flame had finally come back, turning into a white flame floating in front of him. It looked a bit distressed, and even its flame didn't flicker lively. What happened? The cold chalcedony exists, but someone has taken it. I didn't find it anywhere. Shi Yan smiled as if he had known the results beforehand. Since the bitter cold land was under the control of the Ice Emperor land, and there weren't many types of cultivating materials there, the authorities should have taken all materials they could reach in this area. The cold chalcedony that his ice-cold flame mentioned was extremely precious, which was much useful to warriors cultivating ice-class methods. Most of the warriors of the Ice Emperor city had been cultivating using methods of ice class. If they knew this cold snow mountain could produce the cold chalcedony, they would never let it slip away. It's all right if we couldn't get it. We still have plenty of time. Perhaps we could have it during our journey. He comforted the ice-cold flame and then asked it to come back to the blood vein ring. The ice-cold flame got into the ring and gradually quieted down. Looking at the fluttering snowflakes covering the place, Shi Yan didn't linger, gliding through the coldest mountain and flying towards the Ice Emperor city. One day later, he suddenly stopped at a shorter snow mountain, furrowing his brows and looking at the event happening in front of him. That pair of beautiful sisters were in trouble. 7 warriors wearing the uniform of the Heaven Temple were besieging the beautiful girls. They seemed to want to kill them both. From 500 meters away, he concentrated to observe and then let out a low shout. A strange smile cracked on his face. This world was small indeed. The Heaven Temple's warriors who were surrounding the beautiful sisters had gold-colored silky fibers shooting out of their fingers. Apparently, they were from the Ning family of the Heaven Temple. Different from the other new outstanding forces of the divine Great Land like the Fighting Union, the Heaven Temple had a long history. It was formed by several ancient families, and the Ning family was one of them. This family was famous for their insects and worm-taming skills. His devouring gold silkworm came from this family. He had bumped into Ning Zhe from this family in the dark, magnetic, noxious mist. The devouring gold silkworm, staying in his blood vein ring, also belonged to this family. The Ning family of the Heaven Temple. They were using the secret technique gold, silky fibers. Gold light radiated brilliantly from those silkworm fibers, dancing in the air like gold snakes, surrounding the 2 sisters and narrowing their clamps. As this situation accelerated, these 2 pretty sisters would have no leeway not long afterward. Apparently, the devouring gold silkworm could feel the surging energy of the gold silk fibers, and it flew out of the blood vein ring. This devouring gold silkworm was a level 7 beast. However, after taking in 4 drops of the immortal blood, it had grown up several times bigger, with light dazzling on its golden armor. It seemed that this beast would enter the realm of a level 8 beast soon. Beasts of worm class had to struggle really hard to evolve. However, once they could evolve, their powers would be enhanced greatly. So, in the world of demonic beasts, beasts with small volume could be more significant after they had their powers improved. For example, the king of demonic insect. Compared to the same level demonic beasts with a larger build, this level 8 beast was much tougher to play with, as it was agile with had its power concentrated to a greater extent. Also, these small build beasts usually had special additional skills. If the devouring gold silkworm could make one step further to the realm of level 8 beasts, it could reveal some innate ability, just like the martial spirits of warriors. Really magical. As soon as the devouring gold silkworm appeared, warriors of the Ning family all sensed it. They stopped attacking Bing Wei and Bing Chong, all looking at Shi Yan with surprise. "Number 4!" One warrior exclaimed, his face excited. "Is that the number 4?" The Ning family's warriors screamed, leaving the pair of beautiful sisters aside and storming towards Shi Yan. Shi Yan frowned, threw the devouring gold silkworm a glance, and discreetly sent it a message. "What's going on?" "The gold silk fibers they're using come from my body. I want to take them back." The devouring gold silkworm told him, "These strands of gold silk were taken from me. They're a part of my body. When they come back to my body, my general powers could be enhanced. I want to take them back." Shi Yan was astounded. Not waiting for his order, the devouring gold silkworm flew out all of a sudden. Gold light dazzled from its body, rippling out like waves of water. Surging energy of metal class shot towards the 7 warriors of the Ning family. "Damn insect! You dare?" The Ning warrior who took the lead was a bearded guy with peak sky realm strength. He snorted as a small bell emerged in his palm. Golden light flashed in his eyes as a strange force started to pour into the bell in his palm, making it jingle with strange sound waves. The devouring gold silkworm trembled and screamed ear-splittingly. It seemed that it got affected by these waves. That bell was a secret treasure used to control the devouring gold silkworm. The Ning family had experience in raising and training devouring gold silkworm. They knew what kind of noise the devouring gold silkworm was afraid of. The sound wave that came from the bell was the archenemy of the devouring gold silkworm, which could shake its incomplete soul to weaken it and force it to give in. "Master!" The devouring gold silkworm sent him a message by its feeble soul, seeking Shi Yan's help. "Roar!" Shi Yan gathered his strength, roaring loudly towards the leading Ning warrior. His voice was like a tsunami storming forward, breaking the sound waves of the bell. The devouring gold silkworm's golden halo strengthened again, rippling out. This made the warriors of the Ning family pale as if they saw their archenemies trying to avoid it. The golden halo of the devouring gold silkworm was like a light sword that a warrior could generate, extremely sharp. Once they got hit, it would slash through them. Warriors of the Ning family understood that clearly, so they were trying their best to avoid that gold halo. "Kill that brat!" The leader warrior of the Ning was shaking his bell, pointing at Shi Yan and shouting at his men. The other 6 sky realm warriors split up, pincer attacking Shi Yan. There were 3/3 sky of sky realm warriors and 3 second sky of sky realm warriors among the 6 of them. With their first moves, they were as swift as 6 electric currents shooting toward Shi Yan, attempting to kill him in one strike. Cold Thorn Ice Beam. Bing Chong's cold, sharp voice arose on time. A misty energy suddenly swarmed over. In the shower of snowflakes in front of Shi Yan, the cold air had cracked like a giant ice block into ice beams. Cold air expanded from inside the beams just like sharp swords, stabbing the 6 sky realm warriors, who were fiercely storming toward Shi Yan from behind. Cold ice energy. Bing Wei let out a slight shout, thrusting her white pair of hands into the ground. Countless snowflakes gathered to form 2 snow wolves, which looked really lively and formidable, storming towards the bearded warrior. The 2 sisters understood that it was their chance. If Shi Yan died, the next ones to be killed would be them. Thus, they attacked the other without any hesitation. As they were cultivating the ice technique in such a place with abundance of snow and ice, their powers were strengthened greatly. Their ambush had released the pressure on Shi Yan. 3 out of 6 warriors attacking Shi Yan couldn't help but turn back and counter the ice beams shooting towards them, leaving the other 3 to deal with Shi Yan. Scorpio Poisonous Miasma. 3 warriors of the Ning family coming to him all waved their sleeves. Green, poisonous smoke came out violently together with a strong gust. The poisonous smoke condensed into a scorpion in the sky, swinging its tail while dashing towards him with a pungent smell. The scorpion made from poisonous smoke was made of a corrosive gas. As it was coming closer, even the air around OT was trembling as green liquid dripped down from the vapors. Shi Yan didn't change his expression, but his eyes gradually got colder. The dark light shield was activated. He slightly raised his left hand, waving in the void. Many palms shot out from the dark light shield, just like claws of ghosts, snatching the toxic scorpion condensed by the poisonous gas. The big scorpion then split up into numerous smaller scorpions, just like a ripped-off sheet of fabric, scattering away. Thousand Hand Shift. This was a technique he learned from the ice-cold flame. Just like the electric shift and phantom shift, it was a technique that used the profound chi. When he urged it, it would appear as thousands of hands striking together. In a short time, it could create a twisted area with a strong energy. The stronger the energy was, the more terrible the twisted space got. As soon as the poisonous scorpion was scattered, Shi Yan stormed forward without using the negative energies. An explosion burst out in the void, striking forward like a fiery flame, aiming for one of the second sky of Sky Realm Warrior. "You want to die." That warrior just smiled coldly, without having any trace of fear. The bones of his entire body were rattling like a toxic scorpion as he twisted his body. Green miasma gushed out one wave after from his 10 fingers. The dark, cold air swarmed over, covering Shi Yan. Shi Yan's face and limbs were motionless, his body shooting out like a shell. Crack, crack. 10 fingers of that man clamped on Shi Yan's head, but they couldn't bear such a strong force, and his joints burst off. Right after that, Shi Yan hit his chest, as strong as a collapsing mountain, bringing the force of 10,000 soldiers. Bang! That man simply exploded. The bones all over his body were smashed broken, jutted out from the flesh. He looked pathetically terrible. He had underestimated Shi Yan's sturdy body. After his petrification martial spirit had mutated, Shi Yan himself could be considered as a small mountain. If he struck with all of his force, he could truly make things explode. The poor man could have never imagined that, so he was bound to fall in such a catastrophic way. Chapter 497. Two Sisters of a Blended Family. Chapter 497. Two Sisters of a Blended Family. Bang bang. 2 warriors of the Ning family utilized all of their powers, using the Scorpio secret technique, which contained all kinds of scorpion attacks in its intent domain, pouring out on Shi Yan. However, even under that fierce, full-force attack, Shi Yan was safe and sound, floating in the air. His firm, upright figure was like a high mountain that gave people a helpless feeling that he wasn't an easily shaken man. Shi Yan killed one, then stood still, not hurrying to launch another attack, and just let the other 2 bombard him. Shi Yan wanted to test the limit of his mutated petrification martial spirit and see what degree of attack it could bear. When the power of the other 2 attacked him, the strange energy in his flesh was strangely activated, generating a defense that easily dissolved the other 2's attack. The 2 warriors were all at the second sky of Sky Realm. However, even when they had used all of their strength, they couldn't even leave a scratch on Shi Yan. It seemed the warriors at the same level couldn't threaten him at all, as just the power in his flesh body was enough to deal with their full-force attacks. After 5 seconds, Shi Yan got hit at least 70 times, yet he simply stood still. Mother ****. The 2 warriors screamed, their face furious but their hearts shivering. Although they were all warriors at the second sky of Sky Realm, Shi Yan stood motionless and let them bombard him as much as they wanted without moving a finger to defend. This frightened the two, and anxiety grew in them rapidly. The other 3 warriors had a higher realm, but they were fighting with the 2 sisters. After just a glance, they all looked at Shi Yan with astounded faces. They were discreetly afraid inside, not having a clue what kind of a monster Shi Yan was. Nonsense. Shaking his head, Shi Yan declared their death sentence. The death seals were released. 7 seals leaped up as a desolate, intent domain flooded out from them. In just a flash, it affected the spirit and soul of the 2, making them shiver in fear, unable to use their powers anymore. He was like a sharp sword that could pierce through anything, violently storming towards the other 2. After using the death seal, he could take their lives at ease. He had the natural superiority. As their bodies were weaker, they had to die. Nothing was unexpected. After the death seal was released, its intent domain had affected them, which prevented them from launching effective attacks. When they got approached by a furious, close combat warrior like Shi Yan, basically they had no strength to withstand at all. Crack, crack. Their bones were fragmented, and their internal organs were smashed into pieces too. 2 strands of sparkling gold fibers flew out from their bodies. The devouring gold silkworm took them in. Shi Yan frowned, looking at the leader who was shaking the bell, and thundered. His shout was like a grumbling tsunami, which totally subdued the sound waves from the bell. The devouring gold silkworm rebelled. Like a bunch of golden lights, it shot directly towards that man's chest. 10 gold, silky fibers darted out like tentacles, covering the man. The golden strands slashed his body, and he was put to death by dismemberment. His death was extremely terrible. The other 3 warriors of the Ning family were fighting Bing Chong and Bing Wei. Seeing that shocking scene, they screamed in fear and ran for their lives. The devouring gold silkworm turned into a beam of gold light, chasing after them. With the dazzling gold light chasing after them, the 3 warriors of the Heaven Temple couldn't escape their deaths. The gold strands cut them into small pieces, and the gold silky fibers that used to belong to the devouring gold silkworm were all taken back. The essence chi from the 7th sky realm warriors flew out, silently entering Shi Yan's acupuncture points. The battle ended. Pieces of flesh covered the ground. The 2 sisters paled. They looked at the bloody ground, taking in the blood scent. Their faces held a disgust, trying to avoid stepping on the blood on the ground while waving Shi Yan from afar. After the devouring gold silkworm retrieved its golden strands, it behaved nicely and returned to the blood vein ring, eating the desperate souls of the dead in the strands to purify them. Shi Yan stood quietly and sensed. He found that the essence chi he had taken from the 7 warriors had been filtered by the mysterious martial spirit, and the negative energies it brought were within his endurance, which would not lead him into insanity. Although he hadn't recognized it yet, his mysterious martial spirit seemed to have advanced, as it could store more chi now. Realizing that it should be no trouble, he smiled and then walked to the 2 sisters, speaking up coldly. "What should I call you?" "Bing Chong." "Bing Wei." "Nice to meet you," Shi Yan smiled. "Why did they chase after you guys?" The 2 girls kept silent and didn't answer him. Shi Yan nodded as if he understood something. "Got it, see you later." Then he was about to leave. "Wait a minute," Bing Chong held him. "What's up?" Shi Yan frowned, his face cold. "You and I aren't familiar. I attacked the Heaven Temple's people not because of you, so need to thank me. Except for that, we have no relation or anything to talk about. So, what do you want to tell me?" He didn't want to be the hero rescuing the beauty. Killing people from the Ning family was because the devouring gold silkworm wanted to take back its gold strands, retrieving a part of the powers that belonged to it. He didn't think that these 2 girls would be so touched that they would cry in front of him. To him, it was just a small interlude. Whether you did it on purpose or without a purpose, you saved us. Bing Chang's eyes were bright as she looked at him. You are going to cross the Ice Emperor City, right? If you don't mind, we can be your host there and treat you well in the Ice Emperor City. Will you give us face? No need, shaking his head. Shi Yan wore an indifferent visage. I'm going to cross the Ice Emperor City, but I won't stay there. I don't need to bother you guys. Why are you so stingy? My sister has never invited a man before. You didn't give her face at all. Bing Wei yelled as if she wanted to take justice for her sister. Although you've saved us, you can't be too proud or arrogant. We owe you, so we'll pay you back when we get into the city. Shi Yan was surprised. Am I too proud and arrogant? Yes, you are. Well, say anything you want. Shi Yan burst out laughing, not wanting to talk more to these two girls. He turned around and walked away. At this moment, Xia Xianyan was still confined in the Pure Land. He didn't know when they would take her soul. Because of this threat, Shi Yan didn't want to waste time during his journey, as he wanted to visit the Radiant God cult and use their force to negotiate with the Pure Land in the hope that he could bring Xia Xianyan back as soon as possible. Wait a minute! Bing Chang, the older girl, stopped him again. Shi Yan wore an impatient complexion. What's else? We're having troubles. We can't ensure our safety along the way back. But it'll be all right if we arrive at the Ice Emperor City. Could you please go with us? This time, Bing Chang's countenance was a little bit glum. The previous trail of coldness disappeared from her face. It looked like she wasn't used to asking people, so saying these words was hard for her. Jia Jia! Bing Wei yelled. Don't beg him. The 7 of them are all dead. We should be safe. Bing Chang shook her head. It's not that easy. The Ning family has ears and eyes everywhere. There should be more than these 7 warriors near the Ice Emperor City. As long as we aren't in the city, we are not safe. Are you begging me? Shi Yan tisksked and smiled. Yeah, you can think so. Bing Chang gritted her teeth. Her face grimaced as if she wanted to say something, but kept it in. The coldness and pride on her face faded away. What's in it for me? You. What do you want? Bing Chang revealed her anxious face. I can see you want the cold heartgrass. If you accompany us to the city, I'll give you 5 pieces of the cold heartgrass. What do you think? Not interested. Sure, Yen shook his head determinedly. Since he wasn't cultivating cold class techniques, this cold heart grass held no interest for him. What do you want then? Bing Chang's eyes were flurried. Although her face didn't change, her voice wasn't calm anymore. Shi Yan frowned, then rubbed his chin, raking his eyes over the 2 girls. He suddenly burst out laughing. Forget it. Never mind. You can go now. Bing Chang discolored, her tone cold and serious. B*****. Bing Wei cursed under her breath, rolling her eyes at him with a cautious face. The cold energy in her body was gathering silently. She was prepared to attack. Do you have the cold chalcedony? As the girls heard his words, their beautiful face paled, their bodies shivering. They now glared at him indignantly. Even if you want big, it shouldn't be that big, you know. Bing Wei disdained. Do you know the meaning of the cold chalcedony to our Ice Emperor City? Well, I didn't expect that you would dare to ask for the cold chalcedony, let alone the fact that we don't have it. Even if we had it, we wouldn't give it to you even if we have to die. Is that cold chalcedony more precious than your lives? Shi Yan was surprised. Nonsense. Bing Wei wasn't polite to him. The cold chalcedony is the most precious treasure of the ice-cold class techniques. Even our lives are not worth a drop of the cold chalcedony. You know nothing, but you dare to ask for it. Well, it's true that you come from the endless sea then. Bing Chong eyed him like she was observing a monster. She seemed to think that his request was ridiculous. Never mind. Shaking his head, Shi Yan walked away breezily. He doesn't want to go with us, but we can always follow him. Although his power is astounding, his flying speed isn't too fast. He can't leave us behind. Bing Wei smiled cunningly. She didn't wait for her sister's response, flying behind Shi Yan like a snow fox. As Bing Chong was still stunned, she had flown 1 kilometer away. Begrudgingly, Bing Chong had no choice but follow her, as she thought that this method wasn't so bad. She could see that although Shi Yan looked cold, he was an AB** starred. His realm wasn't high, but his pure physical strength was tremendous. His flesh body could be as hard as steel. With a freak like him accompanying them, even if they encountered ambushes, perhaps they could borrow his power to flee away. Bing Chong thought and agreed with her little sister's deed. Although it was cheeky, it was okay to save their lives. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.